2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. This is the longest running Panthers podcast, 9 years strong, homie. We appreciate your support. And you can call into the show at 252-228-5098. Tonight's show, Matt Rhule plays favorites as Panther fans rage. I would almost say Matt Rhule plays favorites as we found out he's the most hated man in Panther Nation history at this point. I mean, it is close. I mean, there's a couple other people that might be the most disliked or disgusting players, right? I mean, because of what they've done in their personal lives. But gosh, I don't know if it's just social media and how in tune and how intertwined we are with the way we all feel, but I have never seen a person that has garnered so much ire as Matt Rhule. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the playoffs. We'll talk about the Carolina Panthers game against the Saints briefly, and how will they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers second string? Holy cow. How? Well, I'll tell you how. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how they will, but I'll tell you who will talk about it with me. And that's Cody Lashney, my co-host, my wheel man. Welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast. Oh, muted.
Shame on me, right? Boo, shame on me. And you know what? Shame on the Panthers, too, because they keep on putting us at 425 to humiliate us in front of the nation, dude. Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll enjoy the last game of the season in style. But listen, man, through thick and thin, you know what the gig is. There is nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here chilling with my boys, talking about my favorite football team, even in spite of all of their woes, with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. It's our man Drew, Andrew Park, Cody C13, JB the Great, Joey the Blind Panther, Kegel Fort, Kyle, Matt Knows Nothing, Maddie Matt, Mindless Bird, Panther Pickle, Panthers Rule, Shane Reed, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
This should be a season in review show, but it turns out there's an extra week in the NFL this year. The year we needed it the least. COVID striking all of these teams, busting all these players out of the game, or at least for a moment, and then they just let them back in after a couple of positive tests or negative tests in 5 days. Now we changed the guidelines. Get this football show on the road. But gosh, we got to watch this damn Panthers team for one more week. One more week, CK. Make sure you're not muted. because everybody else is
I'm
doing.
here.
There you
I'm
go.
here. I'm ready to
One
go.
more week of this. 17. Why this year? Why? Why did they debut the 17-week season or 17-game season with this Panther team? Jesus.
Yeah, it's been, listen, I mean, and there's going to be an argument now about whether it was worth it, right? You know, when you're starting to see some
not for us.
Well, I mean, you are starting to see some of these players start to accumulate injuries, and on these last, on the last day of the last month, or I guess game of the season with the extended season, there are going to be people getting hurt tomorrow, and it's going to raise that question of whether the 17-game season is going to be worth it, especially if anybody of note on a playoff contending team is going to actually go down. That'll be another conversation to have. But man, I'm ready to go. I'm, like I said, I hate to say it, I've never been more excited for a season to be over than I am this season. It's, you know, it's a weird feeling because we talk about it all the time. It's a season where there feels like there's no hope, and I hate that. Like with every like it just, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like I would even say, like the questions about whether or not we're going to be having a high draft pick. I don't really know that even our draft position is going to be a savior for us moving forward, because we have so little to offer any free agents, any trade bait for any, notable players that might be able to help us in the future. It's a bit dismal, but I'm definitely ready for this to be over so we can talk about some other things other than how bad the Panthers are right now.
It's been a tough one. And I tell you, people didn't know. They forget what you don't know what you have until you don't have it. Right? That's why everybody
know what you got
is that
till
a
it's
song?
gone.
Okay. It's kind of, that's why why your health is always the most important thing, is that you always take your health for granted until you don't have it.
True.
This is what I warned about while everybody used to talk junk about Cam, even when he was in the midst of somewhat his prime, right? That, and they would talk about, well, he's not the best passer. Oh, it's like it was nitpicking everything to death. But I tell you, the land without a quarterback is a life not worth living. I mean, it's a tough road to hoe, a life without a quarterback. And that is kind of what we have entered, is lands without a quarterback. And that is, I think, where the desperation or kind of that craziness with the Carolina Panthers or the fans has kind of set in for us, is that in the past you could just say injury or something and you can like, oh, well, next year we can build, we can do this. But right now we don't have the North Star. We look up into the sky, Greg, the stat daddy 52. We look up into the sky and there's no North Star for this Carolina Panthers team at this point. And I don't know if it's quarterback alone, but a lot of questions have fallen on Matt Rhule. And that is where we're trying to get some orientation. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm right there with you on it. It seems like this team is directionless at the moment, and they don't have a star to follow. It's that kind of that feeling, you feel like you can see the light, but it's a train at the end of the tunnel.
Ooh, I hope it's not.
There was somebody mentioned in the chat a minute ago. We were a second ago. We were talking about 17-game season and how we're so ready for this season to be over. So tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of getting ready for the draft in week 10. I can't remember who said it in the chat earlier, but doesn't it feel like for the last few years it's been like that? Around week 9 or 10, we're getting ready for the draft.
Yep.
Like it's so irritating.
What's crazy about that, Cody, is I saw somebody put up a stat that said we're the first 3-0 team or the worst 3-0 team ever. So we started 3-0 and then finished 5-12 if we lose this next game, because there's 17 games. The other teams that have done it had to do it in, so we can get one more loss than those jerks.
Yeah. One of the Chargers teams did it. I think maybe the Jaguars did it once or something. Yeah, it's not good company to be in, and that's who we are.
Tell us what you think about this Carolina Panthers team. What we need to talk about, folks. I want you guys to jump in that chat room right now. There is a lively fan base here every week with us on Tuesdays after the games for all the in-between content we do throughout the week. We appreciate your support. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. Be a part of the conversation by jumping in the YouTube chat, which is always popping, and calling into the show at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Tell us what you want to talk about, because this is a podcast where we're all in a car riding to and from the game together. By fans, for fans. Don't forget, without us, football is just a kid's game. What are we talking about tonight, Cody?
Yeah, so listen, we have a lot on the agenda tonight. As Greg and Dog Stoyevsky mentioned earlier, we're always tired of the draft coming around so early for Panther fans. And you brought this up in our chat, Tony. We need a few things to happen, preferably the New York Giants to come up with the victory over the Ron Rivera-led Washington football team. And the Carolina Panthers will have officially secured the 5th pick in the draft. Again, we have to talk about a lot of things concerning this pick. Do we just take a player? Do we use this top 5 pick to maybe trade back and acquire some more draft capital, which the Panthers are frankly desperately in need of? There's a lot that goes into this, but also what's the likelihood that the Giants do lose or do win and beat the Washington football team? Ron Rivera, Washington football team.
Yeah, they're going to lose that game.
They have an opportunity to win, though.
You're right. That's a good point.
If they were facing Dallas, I'd have a different scenario. I'd say, no hope whatsoever. But they're facing the Washington football team, who are all but out of the contention of the playoffs at this point. I don't really know what they're going to be playing for other than draft spot either. So
yeah.
What does that do? All right, so yeah, I guess they would stay at 6-10. The Washington football team. Which, by the way, did you hear that they're announcing the?
I heard, yeah.
The name, and then I heard on the radio too from just some. I didn't. It was just like Doug Gottlieb or somebody like that. But they said if you're pulling for the Wolves or the Red Wolves to be the name, you'd be disappointed. That's what I heard. Have you guys heard any leaks?
Yeah, so I saw one. Apparently, someone had registered the website Washington Admirals, and when you clicked on the website, it would link you to the Washington football team. Now, I don't know if it still does that.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's one of the popular ones that's going around right now. The Washington football team is weirdly a part of my ice up pick tonight, so I won't be too deep.
All right, we'll save it. All right, we'll stick with this draft talk right here. The New York Giants. We are all New York Giants fans this week, it seems.
Yep. And Bucs fans.
Yes. And who?
Bucs
and
fans.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans.
Yeah, unfortunately.
God, it's so depressing.
Oh, God, that made it really sting.
Yeah.
That hurt, CK.
Yeah.
That hurt.
How are you going to feel if we win? Is it going to make you feel good if we win?
Well, is there even a scenario where we do win? What could the Panthers possibly do? CK, you said this earlier. Do we even have a chance to win if they play their second string players?
Right.
And frankly, I don't know that we do.
Which they are going to. And I think it's a great question.
I think we have to start asking ourselves, is this a trap game? Is there any chance that the Carolina Panthers pull this off when they're resting their starters? They're just kind of trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. Is there actually a chance that we pull this off?
Yeah, absolutely. Begrudgingly, I say that because right now, if you look at that, I don't know what our tiebreaker would be with any of those 4, 6, and 10 teams. I know Washington would have the tiebreaker over top of us, so they would have a higher draft pick, not a lower one, if we were 6 and 10 with them. or 6-11.
Right. Who else was it?
It was Washington, Seattle.
Here it is.
It was Washington, Seattle, Chicago. So those three. And so I mean, there's a possibility we jump all the way back up
how
to,
do they determine?
8.
I hate how they determine that mess. Because for Chicago, it'd probably be who they have beaten that we have beaten, maybe, or it'd be NFC record probably.
Strength of schedule, then versus one another. If you have a head-to-head record like we do with all the NFCs.
All the teams we have beaten, except for one, has been AFC.
Is the strength of schedule what it was based on determined at the beginning of the year, or what it is after the results at the end of the year?
I believe it's at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so if they projected a team to be fantastic and they end up sucking at the end of the year, then at the end of the year you still get them as being a fantastic team on your strength of schedule?
I believe
I
so.
don't know. Yeah, that'd be weird.
I do believe so, because again, it would change week to week, the strength of schedule. I mean, depending. But I don't know. I'm not 1,000% certain on it. I mean,
here it goes. This is from the NFL from NFL rules, the rules site. It says in situations where teams finish the previous seasons with identical records, the determination of draft position is decided by strength of schedule, the aggregate winning percentage of a team's opponents. So what they then actually is like what they finish with.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
And so the team that played the schedule with the lowest winning percentage would be awarded the higher pick. If the teams have the same strength of schedule, division or conference tiebreakers are applied. If the divisional or conference tiebreakers are not applicable or ties still exist between the teams of different conferences, ties will be broken by the following tie-breaking method. Oh, that sounds cool. Head-to-head, if applicable. So actually, it sounds like this is you know what? You don't even have to get into all of the things that this is actually a cool list when I get to it, is that they look at those teams and they really look at the people they played and they look at the records of the people they played that year. So like you look at who, I guess who Seattle has played versus who we have played and who's got the better record.
Right.
Well, that's the first one. And here's the cool list about that, which is strange. I feel like that's such an easy way to do it. But I mean, how do you even get to this? Like, how could that even be? Imagine if that was like 7.25. How could you have set two 7.25s? Like, I mean, that would be wild.
Well, but then I think that's why they factor in a bunch of other different things too, like head to head.
But that's schedule. Like the first thing, and if that is like if they both have a 7.5, the way I read it is if they both have like a 7.5, which is kind of strange. Like that would be hard for both teams to have the same exact strength of schedule, right? That means they would have to have played this basically the same exact teams anyway. Then the list goes head to head next. Best one. So if they played each other, best one loss tied percentage in common games. What does that mean? Best here. I'll share this.
So any opponents that you had in common, whoever had the better record against those.
Yeah. Record against common opponents.
Well, one thing I think is crazy that I don't know if I'm learning here or maybe I'm misunderstanding is the first thing was strength of schedule. Head to head didn't come down the road. So looking at that, in theory, if the three teams ahead of us that have four losses or 4 wins all win,
you just look at who they play
and we lose. In theory, if we had a strength of schedule, we can move up to third, right?
Ooh,
if it goes by
this is right here. This is the
first,
exact rules right here. You can this is right here. In situations where teams finish the previous season with identical records, the determination of draft position is decided by strength of schedule, the aggregate winning percentage of a team's opponents. The team that played the schedule with the lowest winning percentage, the team that. Ooh, so they have to play the worst teams?
Yeah, well, the ones that had the worst played against the worst winning percentage or worst, excuse me,
So
the
they
easiest
lost to
schedule.
the worst
Yeah,
teams.
then they're the worst
Ooh.
because they had the easiest schedule, and they
And
still
that's the
had
way
that
I read it
record.
too, Greg, is that like that is the main determinant. And then if for some strange reason that number is identical,
Then they have all those factors.
then they go to this, which I feel like I've always been thinking that losing to the Saints was important. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually not. You're actually hoping they lose to shitty teams.
Right.
Right. So does that mean that we can be third if the strength of schedule calculations add up and those 3 teams win and we lose? Then we'll have 4 teams that are 5-11 or 5-12.
You would have to hope that I guess what is, pull it back up again, Cody.
Yep.
I removed myself. We're fighting. We are screenshotting.
Yeah, because look, the Texans, the Jets, and the Giants, if they all win and we lose, then that's 4 teams that are 5-12. So whoever has the easiest strength of schedule there would be the number 3 seed.
See who the Jets have lost to.
Kenneth says highest we can pick is 5. If Houston, Jets, and Giants and Panthers all have the same record, Giants beat
Why?
us and
That's what
Houston
I thought too,
and the
Panther Pickle.
Jets.
That's what I thought too. I thought the head-to-head was the first determining factor, but by the rules we're reading, it's saying that it starts with strength of schedule.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I mean, just by the way I'm reading it, maybe I misunderstood this whole time.
And this is who the Jets have played. Listen to these teams. They played the Panther. They lost to the Panthers. That one's going to help them.
Yeah.
Right. That helps them. They lost to the Patriots. They've lost to the Broncos. They've lost to the Titans. They've lost to the Falcons. They've lost to the Patriots again. The Bengals. The Colts are good. The Bills are good. The Dolphins are good. They won against the Texans. They lost against the Eagles. We lost against the Eagles. They lost against the Saints. We lost against. I feel like this. Oh, they beat the Jaguars though. Interesting. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna have, remember this. Somebody, a C3 Nation, the chat, or whatever we call y'all. In the chat, y'all remember this. We're gonna have to get a draft expert on, because I'm with Greg. The way I read that is that it has nothing to do with the head-to-head record. Well, I mean it does, but if you think about it, and the aggregates, right? Aggregate means it doesn't mean average, right?
So the Charlotte Observer 12 hours ago, they put out something that said the Panthers can pick as high as 6th or as low as 4th. So we could end up picking 4th.
Because the Giants, right? The Giants.
Right, so maybe 2 of those below us, their strength of schedule must be better than ours, is what they're saying, I guess, and one of them is not.
Yeah, well, then at least we won't have too much time to get wasted before the Panthers pick on draft night, Tony. But we still got the rest of the show that we got to get.
What do you think? Speaking of, all right, so a good point is that there is, the draft, man. Boy, Tony at pick 25 is a tough guy to deal with on this podcast. But
crazy year.
The Panthers are going to go into this draft. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions being asked about what you do. Do you go quarterback? Do you invest in this offensive line, which we finally have seen a head coach come out this week and say it's time to invest in the offensive line. But the question is, will that coach even be here? There's a lot of questions to be answered before the draft.
Yep.
Does picking between 6 and 4 help us this year? And what does it change? Does it help a trade back, or does it? I know this is so speculative, but are we just at the range we're at? We're just we're not at the top. We're not the 1-2 pick, but we're not at the 9-10 pick. Is that just where we're at?
At the end of the day, it's a premium pick. And one of the things that we heard Scott Fitterer say is after pick 16, he doesn't view a lot of difference between those late first-round picks to those early second-round picks. So, again, this is going to be a test of who Scott Fitterer is as a general manager, because maybe there are teams that are going to be looking to move up into the top 5. The only problem with that is it's just normally for a quarterback where teams are going to trade up. This year, the quarterback draft class is not that great. There are guys that are probably going to be available all throughout the first round, knowing that you're going to have to move up to get. So that doesn't necessarily bode well for us. But at the same time, man, if we're able to land a premium offensive line pick, we should probably do so. I mean, the left tackle from Alabama, from Mississippi State, there's a bunch of options at that pick. We just have to make sure it's the right pick. Or could we get adequate value if we did figure out how to trade back a little bit? I mean, this is going to be a question that we're going to be talking about pretty much the remainder of this offseason. I mean,
that brings me to my question, though. You talked about left tackle. What do we think is the most appropriate approach with that? Like, do we think that Brady Christiansen is the left tackle we keep and that we need to focus on the guards? Because since Trey Turner left, we haven't had a situation with guards where we felt comfortable at all. I mean, do we do that, or what's the answer at this point?
Well, it goes back to this Matt Rhule refusing to play Brady Christiansen the majority of the season. By the way, he doubled down again. And Tony, I know I saw you.
It wasn't even. Yeah, it was just.
I saw you commenting on this, that Matt Rhule is still doubling down that he doesn't know what Brady Christiansen's future position in the NFL is going to be.
I don't even care if he's right, Cody. I mean, if he might be right. Who cares? Who cares at this point? The offensive line is dog shit. Like you say, you always say it's dog shit.
But I never said
the dirt type stuff. Shit. And no, but I mean, in theory, the whole line has been crap. And so, you know what? And Christiansen has been, we don't know if he's really good or whatever. Who cares if he's good or not good? He's the best thing. Like, he hasn't been the worst thing. And he's been barely given an opportunity. So there's no reason for that to be the problem at this moment. It's the wrong time to triple down on that. He might be wrong. In 8 years, we might say Brady Christiansen's an all-pro guard. And we'd be like, oh, Matt Rhule was right. But this is not the time to be saying that. Like, it's like the dumbest time to be saying that. It's not even right. You know, I mean, who cares if who cares? They're all, thank you for playing left guard. You should be going kissing his ass at this point. I mean, at left tackle.
But I mean, if you already have a franchise left tackle, like, what if Brady Christiansen is a franchise left tackle?
What if I don't even
know? Let me ask you, Cody, do you think, from what you've seen of Brady Christiansen in college and in the pros, just I know it's been all over the place, is he better than anybody than a person we could get as a left tackle, like you said, the guy from Alabama or Mississippi State? Like, is he better than
I mean, no, there are guys that are going to be available that are first round left tackles that you talk about taking with a top 10 pick, right? Brady Christiansen never was that. Then. Yeah, he never was that for a myriad of different reasons. You know, you talk about arm length, but then you also talk about the level of competition that he played against too when he was at BYU. So no, it's something that we really don't know a lot yet. Like, that's why this year Matt Rhule failed this team so heavily, to not get Brady Christiansen and Deontay Brown the requisite amount of reps, and just to see what kind of player you have on your offensive line. It's important for your talent evaluation going forward, so you know if you need to spend more draft picks on offensive line later down the road. It's been an absolute abject failure to do so on Matt Rhule's part.
It's going to be an interesting, I guess, prelude to the draft. You know, that's really what we're going to be interested in, is how the Carolina Panthers approach free agency and how they deal with their staff going forward. You know, is this Matt Rhule? Let's run it one more time. Are you going to give him the latitude to pick or the opportunity to pick another quarterback, this and that? And maybe, or we're talking about, I would like to look at that list and say, what are the other teams around us interested in picking? Jacksonville picked a quarterback last year. What are they going to be picking? Yeah. They need to pick an offensive lineman, obviously. Yeah, everybody's going to be picking offensive linemen probably ahead of us. I will say that. But it might be take a offensive lineman there at 5, 6, or wherever you're at. And some people are talking about trading back. But you also got to believe a team wants to trade up. So there better be a premium wide receiver that somebody wants to move from 12 to 6, 4, or something like that, which is, I think that's a long shot. Usually people move for quarterbacks, right? But what about this? Picking an offensive lineman that top 10 and then trading back into the first, next year's first for QB.
I don't know, but it just depends on what quarterback we're talking about. Matt Corral has been the big time name in this year's class that people have been talking about, and he hurt himself in his bowl game, so his stock might drop a little bit because of that injury. We talk about Kenny Pickett, but the thing with Kenny Pickett that everybody talks about is he has, just like Brady Christiansen has the T-Rex arms, well, Kenny Pickett has baby hands. Okay,
and got little Teddy Bridgewater hands.
At the quarterback position, you want to have bigger hands, and you think that if Fitterer and Rhule, if they're such size queens, then they're probably maybe wouldn't be too high on Kenny Pickett. But then at the same time, Matt Rhule once upon a time recruited Kenny Pickett to come and play quarterback at Temple. And he was going to play quarterback at Temple.
He would take anybody, though, at Temple. He would take anybody at Temple, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Joe Person
article confirmed board. I'm trying to find what's next on the docket.
So, another one that has been talked about a lot today, Jim Harbaugh is rumored to be interested in making his NFL return. And, a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people just online in general are speculating that, hey, maybe Jim Harbaugh should come here. So my question to everyone else in the chat room and on this panel is, what's the possibility that should David Tepper fire Matt Rhule, would he open up the checkbook for Jim Harbaugh, and how would you feel about that decision?
I want to let CK go first because we talked about this a little bit beforehand, and I have a counterpoint to his, so I want to put him.
Okay, go ahead.
0% chance he comes to the Carolina Panthers, and I say this for a couple of reasons. Right now, if he came back to the NFL, his entire goal would be about prestige. He could make more money as a college coach than he would as an NFL coach right now. Like his value is way more. I guess he's more valuable in that arena than he is here, right? So what that means is if he's actually considering coming to the NFL, it has little to do with money and everything to do with being able to have prestige. He's looking at this organization as inept right now. When you look at the possible job openings that are out there, you have Jacksonville, right? Right there alone, that already kind of speaks to the high level. Like that's probably going to be one of the highly sought after positions, right? You have possibilities of Seattle if they end up getting rid of Pete Carroll up there, in Seattle. There's more places right now that are better options than the Carolina Panthers. And from the idea of being able to go in there, even the Raiders, for instance, you have more opportunity to get those people where they need to go because they have less holes. And some might say Jacksonville has more holes. The problem with Jacksonville is they have a quarterback that is a linchpin that they can build around. And I think that's something that is way more attractive than what we have going on right now. So there is 0% chance that I see Jim Harbaugh making a decision to come to the Panthers, regardless of what the checkbook looks like.
Okay. You make some really good points there. And while I don't think it's going to happen, I think there's a lot greater than 0% chance for a number of reasons. He's going to be a lot more willing to pay Jim Harbaugh after he just fumbled with Matt Rhule that has no experience, paying somebody he knows has experience and can get the job done. You're right. He could probably make more money in college, but if you come to the NFL and you take a team from zero where we're at, and you could take us to being winners, that's more prestigious than anything you're going to do in college, especially if you give the Carolina Panthers their first Super Bowl title. You'd be way more famous
as well.
that. Yeah. But I'm just making the argument for Carolina. You'd be way more famous, I feel, there than you would in any college. I'm not as big of a college football fan. I realize college football coaches can be very, very big, but I just feel like you would make a pretty good name for yourself. And I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's possible. I mean, there are a lot of different things out there that I don't think that necessarily, being in college for coaches is more prestigious. Like, not every coach looks at it like that. That's why you see a lot of coaches trying to jump to the pros, a lot of coaches going back to college. I don't know what his mindset would be. I just feel like taking a professional team from zero to hero, winning a first Super Bowl for a city would be a very, very lucrative offer.
Hell, man, I just need a playoff bid, bro. I don't even need a Super Bowl at this point.
I get it, but yeah.
I have mixed feelings about the Harbaugh discussion, right? Is that I think he did a nice job in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, he was okay. Right? I mean, he did a lot he put together a good defense, cobbled together this offense. I think he knows a lot about football. I think somebody in the chat room called him a tool. I think he's a big dork. He's like when I say a dork, he's like kind of a tough talking dork at first, but he wears like the khaki pants all the time, and he's a dweeb. He he goes around checking on the dudes in the dorm all the time. He's nice. He's like he can't. I think he has enough pro experience to be successful. Like, I would not be the most upset with the hire. I would not, I don't know if David Tepper wants to dip directly into the college well,
right?
Despite him having NFL pro experience. Yeah. Is that coming from I feel like he's going to dip into a coordinator or another former head coach thing, but I would have to go kind of study how he interacts with people and the players, so we don't replicate the kind of same college mantra. But I tell you this is, I don't know if the idea of him making more money in the college game is true. Like, those jobs that pay the big bucks are probably gone at this point. Mm-hmm. He's making, and he's at one of the biggest colleges in the country. Like, he's at a dope school that don't pay cheap. He's making 4.2 right now. 4.2 million a year. Matt Rhule, by the way, is making 8.5 a year. How about this? Is Matt Rhule is paid more than Andy Reid,
which is embarrassing. It's an absolute embarrassment.
Not much, though.
It's embarrassment that Eric Bieniemy
$500,000
still doesn't have a head coaching job. My thing is this: like, okay,
Ron Rivera's getting 7 though.
If Jim Harbaugh. If Jim Harbaugh actually signed here, we should thank our lucky stars because of what CK just mentioned. Like, really, what's true for Harbaugh coming here is going to be true for any and every coach that comes here. We are not a very attractive destination when you look at the landscape. So David Tepper is going to have to break out the pocketbook if he wants a head coach that he feels is actually worthy of being the Carolina Panthers head coach. And for the right amount of money, I do think that Jim Harbaugh might be interested in coming here. Like many people in the chat room have pointed out, former once upon a time Carolina Panther quarterback. It was only for 1 year, but he was a quarterback for the Panthers.
Good point.
Yeah. And then you also have to look at it like this. Jim Harbaugh, yeah, he's a college coach. He's been at college recently, but he also took a team to a Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah. Harbaughs are the two of the most respected pair of brothers in the NFL and just in football in general. They're football guys. When you look at what John Harbaugh has done for the Baltimore Ravens, an incredible culture. They're always competitive. I think Harbaugh would be right in line with that. I don't know about the likelihood of this happening. It's kind of a see it to believe it type of deal. David Tepper certainly has deep enough pockets to be able to lure Harbaugh to Carolina. But if it happens, I think you have to be happy about that, especially since there is no way in hell he isn't an upgrade over Matt Rhule after everything that we've seen of Matt Rhule.
Mm-hmm.
I like this is that he was a college, he was a pro quarterback. Yeah, himself, So let's see what he's done. He did. He had Stanford when he was with. Was he with Luck?
Yep.
So he's coached Andrew Luck. He then took San Francisco 2011 to 2014. Looks like.
Yep.
Let's see. What did they do? They went 12-4 in 2013, 8-8 in 2014. What did they do? 11-4-1 in 2012. Good gosh. This is not bad, actually.
He's a Harbaugh, man. This is not just any
over.
Other. It's not just any other coach, man. He's a Harbaugh. I mean, there's a reason.
He really is. This true that? All right, so to a team. All right, so this is what it says. 20. All right, so he comes in 2011, January. This is Wikipedia, which is the best. January 7th, 2011, 4 days after winning the Orange Bowl, Harbaugh agreed to a 5-year, $25 million contract to become head coach for the San Francisco 49ers. He took over Tom Sula, though the 49ers were expected to struggle in what was anticipated to be a rebuilding year with a new scheme and new players, as well as a shortened summer practices due to a lockout. Harbaugh led the team to a 13-3 regular season record, winning the NFC West division, finishing second overall in the NFC and bringing the team to an NFC championship game. In 2012, he replaced Alex Smith with Colin Kaepernick, and then the team went and finished 11-4-1. And in 2013, they finished 12-4. 2014, 8-8. He didn't have a losing season. And he only had one season under 11 wins, which is crazy. That's pretty good. Yeah. Would not be entirely upset. And I tell you this is the other thing about the Michigan position is, first of all, you're all the second fiddle to Ohio State, right? Is that the Michigan mystique has worn off in the modern era. It's kind of like Nebraska. Nebraska used to be the place. Now in the 90s, these guys won championship after championship. It's not now. Now it's all in the SEC. What is Michigan, Ohio State? What is that? Big Ten?
Yeah, Big Ten.
You tell me. Big Ten. Those guys are fighting. It's kind of like being in whatever. What's the one that Rhule was in with Baylor, and what was that?
Pac-12.
Yeah, is that you're always the little
12.
brother. You're the little brother trying to fight the SEC. I don't know. Interesting.
You're never going to be the biggest coach in Michigan. Either.
Right.
I mean, Bo Schembechler is going to be the biggest coach ever in Michigan. You're never going to be the biggest coach in Michigan. You might be the biggest coach in Carolina.
There was hope.
Won't be the worst. This would not be the worst hire.
Yeah.
And
it wouldn't be the worst hire. No, at all.
It would be better than Matt Rhule.
Yeah, certainly. And people were in the chat room trying to say, well, wasn't Urban Meyer a good coach? No, Urban Meyer never proved himself in the NFL. I mean, that's just, he never did. Jim Harbaugh certainly did. And by the way, our guy
Jim Harbaugh's actually struggled more in college than he did in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's a different game. And some guys are better doing NFL football than they are in college. Our buddy John, One Carolina, says 13-3 first season. Kyle Williams doesn't muff a punt, and they beat the Giants and go to the bowl. So, again, I think, the Harbaugh brothers, Jim and John, they're known to be football people. They know what it's like to be in control of an NFL locker room. The more we talk about it, I would love Harbaugh to be the head coach. I don't know if it'll happen. I'm almost, I'm more on the side that it probably won't. But I don't know, man. I just think that we could do a lot worse than Jim Harbaugh.
Hey, Joseph Cagle in the chat says they've already said Rhule will be back next year. Have y'all heard anybody say for sure Rhule's going to be back next year?
Yeah, that's what most
could
people
be.
are saying. It's do we believe that or not?
Yeah, as we have heard. Who's the NFL guy? It's not Ian Rappaport. Is it Ian Rappaport?
Yeah, Ian Rappaport.
No, who's the other one?
Adam Schefter?
Yeah, one of the two. Whatever the NFL one is.
Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero are the NFL guys.
They were like, signs are saying everything has been like, signs point to a third year. You're on mute, by the way. CK.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I was going to say, they you have heard the signs point. I think there was something that said sources are saying that he's going to be back for another year, that his job is safe. But I also think that's weird because similar reports are coming out saying that David Tepper is embarrassed and appalled or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact words, that he gave that 7-year contract to Matt Rhule, to a college coach.
Right.
Panthers Rhule or Panthers Pickle, one of the two, who was in the chat, said, do you remember, Tony, when Harbaugh played for the Panthers? Harbaugh did play for the Panthers in 2001, where he dressed for 6 games but did not play. That would be our worst season ever. So if we would have started him, we would have been better. Number 2 is, should we start? We got to get on eBay and get some old Harbaugh jerseys up in this joint. Imagine we have to be. You know what? Mark it down. I'm doing it right now. What else we got to talk about? Nah. All right. My only thing about this with just to address with who said it, Greg, about the Rhule coming back.
Joseph Cagle in the chat said that they already said it. Yeah.
A lot of the insiders are just trying to tell us that is what's gonna, like, that's it's like safe pointing to. They're like safe, and they're really just building on the conversations, I think, that have happened for the last 2 years. But that's like also like, I mean, David Newton was on the Beat Check the night before we signed Cam Newton.
Yeah.
And he said there's no way. Mm-hmm. And he's in there asking the questions. You know what I mean? Like these guys all the time have feelings. They are really building off of 5 or 6 statements that have been made. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think, and I would tell you this, is that I was going back and I listened to the post game that we did afterwards, and Cody, you said it well, man. You were just like, it's not. Anyway, it's just we can't we don't know what the Tepper is going to do. That's what you said. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, is that we don't know what Tepper's going to do, and he could get at the end of this. And I'm telling, I don't think I will say this, and I don't think that Matt Rhule is going to be the coach next year. I have never seen a groundswell movement like this. It's insane.
It's
insane. How,
I mean,
what was that picture you guys put up with the cats at the NBA game?
Joan had met those guys, and then they were on the actual broadcast behind him. Yeah, it was, dude. It's absolutely hysterical to see, because I don't think I can't recall a time. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to Steve Wilkes' first year at the Cardinals organization, but I don't know if even, like, I don't know what that was like. But after 2 years, I don't think I've seen this type of just overwhelming hatred for a coach that you have for Matt Rhule. And that's where, like I said, I was in favor of Joe Brady getting the axe, and I still am in favor of that because I didn't see anything special from what he was able to do. But what that did for Matt Rhule doing that at that point in the season was put the crosshairs directly on him, because at least Joe Brady was taking some of the heat. Now there is no heat to be given to anybody other than Matt Rhule. You can't even say Phil Snow, because Phil Snow is arguably the best coach on the squad. Now, are they doing fantastic? No, right? I think we all can be debatable about that. But like in comparison to what we expect, like what we look at what Matt Rhule is, it's not even comparable. I feel like it's night and day difference. Matt Rhule is not the coach. And I just don't like. I love the fact that that the Bat Daddy was right on this from the get-go. He doesn't seem like an NFL coach to me anymore. Like, he doesn't have that demeanor. He honestly feels like a guy who is just feeling sorry for himself, and that's what it feels like right now.
It's weird. It's weird that, you know, when we had the discussions, you know, Cody is always, he comes hard with his opinions. That's why people love him, right? He's convicted. He's got a lot of conviction. But even when you had that conviction about fire, like time to move on from Ron Rivera, there's like counterpoints to be made.
Yeah.
You know, there is a
lot of pushback.
But not even just pushback, is just like an alternative narrative, you know, like an alternative. You know, you could say, well, yeah, this is what you're saying, but here this is. This has got to be the most minority group ever. And this, I've always joked like this, is that, you know, when you can't talk junk about minority groups when they're a certain size. And what I mean by that is, like, think about it as like, if you come out and you're a racist and you don't like Hispanic people or black people, those groups are big enough in society and have a voice that's large enough with a votership to kind of like get you back. But like, if I came out and I talked junk in a class, well, I'm not me. Hypothetically, someone goes and talks about a junk about a religious group that has a sizable following in their classroom. Someone would come out in there and they'd be like, this guy is, you know, coming on this religion. They like, I mean, you know, there would be all this, but you can make fun of Scientologists all day.
Yeah, because there's not too
because they're like this big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
as long as the minority is so minor. And that, I mean, we're finally actually seeing that with Native Americans. And we'll go back to what's going on with the Washington football team, is that voice is so small. Like, you don't even have to care about their feelings in a way. That is what the Rhule supporters are right now.
Yeah, they're
not even a sizable minority.
And by the way, now people, so there's a show, I have this on screen, Gridiron Heights, which, by the way, watch Gridiron Heights. It's by Bleacher Report. It's freaking hilarious. It's like a little mini animated show that they put out every week about the NFL, where they're already making fun of Matt Rhule as if he were to go back to the Delaware Clams, whatever, insert college team here. Delaware Clams game plan under Matt Rhule: wait years for CMC to get healthy, change quarterbacks whenever, sign anyone who's ever gone to Temple. And he's saying, as coach of the Clams, I know it may take us a decade to be ready. So it's like all the things that we're saying, people are actually now, all the things that we've been saying, people are now kind of finally catching on to. And real quick, before we went any further, if you see my thumbnail that I made for tonight's show, it kind of had something to do with this, but Matt Rhule, to me, it just continues to show his hand and play favorites. And someone on Twitter named O'Doyle made this fantastic video showing the difference between how Matt Rhule talks about Sam Darnold and how he talks about Cam Newton. So actually, it'll be Cam Newton first, and then he'll talk about Sam Darnold.
Quarterback can't have 2 turnovers in 2 straight games. Just, we're not going to win that way. So we have to protect the football a little bit better and kind of go from there. At the end of the day, obviously a lot of throws at the end that are incomplete because of the situation that we're in, and weren't able to protect him. I thought Sam, even that last interception, we called a hook and lateral, just trying to get back and have a chance. So they're a really good defense. We knew that coming in. Thought Sam made plays, some aggressive plays at times. Can't have to record.
So again, you hear one, notice that whenever at the end, whenever he's talking about Sam Darnold and making excuses for him because of the protection, notice how he never looks at the camera. He never looks at anyone who's asking him the question. His eyes are down the entire time. If you don't think that shit is telling,
are they both?
Then I
Are
have
they
some property to sell you, man?
Question is are any either of those videos? Sometimes could be Zoom and one. Play it one more time and let's try to figure out, is he talking to an audience or is he talking to a Zoom camera? Look, because
but even when they're on the Zoom, you can still see
you don't
them,
look at these. You don't look at their. I barely
yeah,
look at
you
y'all.
do. They have the camera. They have the screen in front of them with all the beat reporters in front of them.
Turnovers in 2 straight games. Just we're not going to win that way. So
see, he's standing at a real podium
a
there.
little bit better and kind of go from there. At the end of the day, obviously a lot of throws.
See,
at
I
the
think
end
he's probably on a
situation
Zoom
that
now.
we're
It
in.
doesn't matter.
We're
You
able to
can
protect
still
him.
look
Thought
forward
Sam,
at the people
even that
talking
last
to you on
interception,
Zoom.
we called a hook and lateral, just trying to get back and have a
Oh,
chance.
shush. Now that's too much.
They're really
And
good
it's just
defense.
excuses, just like you're making excuses.
No, it's not
for Matt Rhule.
excuses,
Whenever you're
no,
bullshitting,
I'm not making
his
a
eyes
rule.
are just looking down the whole time.
I'm not even looking at you right now. I'm looking at myself on the screen. Right now, I'm actually looking at my own face.
Yeah, but
And
you're
it is
looking
beautiful.
forward. Imagine if I did the whole podcast just looking straight down the entire time. But also, I'm not the NFL coach for the Carolina Panthers, man. So if I'm addressing a question, then I'm going to look forward to whoever's asking me the question. Dude,
Welcome
listen,
to the
the
C3
guy's an
Panthers
absolute
podcast, brought to
moron.
you by WRL.
Don't let that distract you from the fact that this idiot is making excuses for Sam Darnold that he did not give to Cam Newton when Cam Newton showed up in the middle of the season and injected life back into this Carolina Panthers football team. And then he wants to say, oh, quarterbacks, well, you can't throw 2 interceptions. You can't throw 2 interceptions. But when Sam does it, oh, then it's a product of the protection that you have control over, Matt Rhule. Dude, he's a dumbass, man. He's an absolute moron. And the fact that the media at large is finally starting to now talk about this shit, I love it, dude. I want everyone to know that Matt Rhule is an inept dumbass that hadn't a fucking clue what he's doing, man. It's unacceptable, dude. And then he's basically giving everyone free reign to take shots at Cam Newton whenever they want, even though Cam Newton was on the field for 1 snap. It's the dumbest shit in the world, man.
Well, you know what? This is what Cam. Man, people always been doing this to Cam, but Ron Rivera didn't do this to Cam. I don't know. I mean, it is interesting, isn't it? And this is like, if you're a black male in this world, you probably say this is exactly what we've been telling y'all, assholes. White privilege. I don't know. I mean, you know what is that? I would say that yes. Look, they used Cam. They used and abused Cam. Go back, watch the tape, the C3 Panthers podcast. I did not want us to sign Cam Newton because it was using him. It's like calling up your old a girl that you loved back in the day, kind of like you guys had something real, but you treated her wrong. Boys, guys, we've done that to a lot of girls in our life. A lot of good girls that cared about us.
Yep.
We treated them wrong. And then it's late at night. Been drinking some beers. See them out or text them and you be giving them the eyes. And you're going to do them wrong again. And that's what we did to Cam. We did. Cam. All right. Speaking of Cam, listening to a Raleigh radio station today. and Darren Gant. And I think this is important because Darren Gant's a member of the Panthers media. Like, he's not just part of the media. He works for the Carolina Panthers. Now, he has always kind of been a roguish type reporter, speak his mind, honest type. So, I don't think he's really changed his style tremendously, but he probably has toned it a little bit down as he worked for the Panthers. He was talking about Cam Newton. And he said that it was sad watching him play right now.
It is. He's the fall guy, man. He's the patsy.
That's not how he described it.
He's the patsy on the field, just like Joe Brady was in the front office. He said
it's sad. He compared him, and this is someone who's close to the team, right? He works in the building. He watches all the games like we do. He sees them on the field. He gets to interview them afterwards. He gets to, he said this as he said, it's crazy to see a band like the greatest rock band ever. And you see them live in concert 10 years ago. And they just are, like at the top, the peak, which is Cam Newton 6, 7, 8 years ago. And now you see him at the county fair playing cover songs. And then Adam Gold on Raleigh Radio compared to that. He said, you just called Cam Newton Fat Elvis. Sweaty fat. I'm like that. You just not you. And basically Darren Gant had to consent to that. As he said, Cam's is not there anymore.
Dude, I hate this fucking conversation, and I don't care.
No, I'm not saying I don't. We're not going to really have it, but think about this: a guy. Look, you have to give this. This is Darren Gant has covered this team for 30 years, dude.
Yeah,
he
fine.
is.
It doesn't change my opinion that Cam Newton has been brought in to be the fall guy. He was never going to make this work. There is not a quarterback
right here.
There is not a quarterback that anyone can name that you would put on this football team this year and make this a better football team, or even the team that contended for the NFC South. I'm sorry, it would not happen. Okay? Now, listen, we're probably never going to get a chance to see Cam Newton with a full offseason under his belt, with the chance to go through OTAs, with another draft class, with a better, more improved offensive line. We can speculate about what Cam Newton would do behind that all day. And personally, I think that's what the Panthers should do. I think that we should go forward with Cam Newton as our bridge quarterback, because in my mind, he is so much better than Sam Darnold and has so much more experience. But the fact of the matter is everybody's like, oh, he's done. He's done. He's done. Well, you wouldn't know even if he had anything left in him, because you damn sure wouldn't be able to see it on this football team. So, hey, maybe everyone disagrees with me. Fine. I don't think Cam Newton comes back next year because of just how things are going. But I think he should be afforded the right to prove that he still has more than what's being shown.
You're just saying this to get – all right. Anyway.
No, I believe that shit. I don't say no shit.
Isn't this a good segue to the next joint? Wasn't it about quarterbacks?
Yeah, it sure was. So it has been speculated, or not speculated, but it's been a topic of conversation about Baker Mayfield being the Panthers quarterback in 2022. Nick Wilson had him at the top of his 2022 offseason list.
To be fair, he's from Cleveland. Or not being fair, to be transparent. No, Nick Wilson.
Which he should know, which all the more, he should know even better. He should know even better.
Like thinking him as Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that Baker Mayfield is not the answer going forward.
Dude, the Browns, he's like the Browns Jesus Christ, bro.
No, he's not.
No, he's
dude,
not.
He's not even close.
Dude,
he's a fucking bum.
They made the play.
He's a bum, dude.
Bro.
He's not much better than Sam Darnold.
But if you had only had dog shit for dinner for the last 20 years and then somebody gave you a McDonald's cheeseburger, you would be like, this cheeseburger is the best.
Right. But I think they also look at what they have right now. They have one of the best built offenses in the entire NFL. And the weakest link of the entire squad is the quarterback. Like, it is the weakest part of it. Like, when you have an offensive line, when you have a running backs like they have, I mean, they have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I mean, the Jarvis Landry. I mean, they have the pieces that they need to be able to be successful, except for a quarterback that's at an playing at an elite level.
I don't want a quarterback that's got a shoulder injury. First of all, I wasn't a Mayfield believer, period. Yep. Like, even last year when they were great, when they were great in his best season, he's just pretty good. It's kind of like Alex Smith. You know, it's just pretty good. You know, it's never going to be great. But I don't want to deal with no one coming off a shoulder surgery. Get that out of here.
No.
Best thing Baker Mayfield has done is them commercials.
And he has terrible mechanics. He never drives his back foot into the ground on those deep passes that he throws. It causes him to use his arm, like purely to strengthen his arm to throw footballs. And that's why he ends up being so inaccurate. I mean, listen, why do you think Odell Beckham wanted out? He was never getting the ball.
Oh, look, I ain't gonna trust. That's like saying Antonio Brown knew something was wrong with the.
Yeah, but did you see the video that Odell's dad put out? He was open like a number of fucking times.
That's like, well,
and
I
Baker
don't care.
Mayfield just never threw him the ball.
I don't want Baker, but someone put up a tweet that said, look, this Ben Volin or whatever. Imagine if we traded for Baker. I would blow my brains out. Actually, I would blow someone else's brains out. I blow Nick Wilson's brains out. I'm not killing myself. I'm killing somebody else, folks. We don't have no draft picks to trade.
Nope.
And the Panthers clearly would not trade just a 6 for Baker Mayfield. We would trade like 2 firsts and a third, of course.
I mean, I'm telling you,
sign his 5th-year option right away.
If we do anything with a fucking quarterback this offseason, I am going to fucking burn something to the ground. Like, I am over this quarterback carousel constantly. And if we go and trade for Baker Mayfield, guess what? He's on his 5th-year option. We're having to pay for all of the same contract that Sam Darnold's got.
Sam Darnold. It's just
and then
like
we might have
it's like a quarter inch better.
Yeah, I mean, but we're constantly overlapping the mistakes. And then at some point, it's just going to become a problem to where we can't dig ourselves out of it. If we go into this offseason and we do anything regarding the quarterback that isn't already on the roster right now,
Minshew magic, baby.
Dude, I don't even like if you get him for a cheap price and it's a 1-year contract, I am fucking golden. Like, that's fine with me. But no fucking trades, no drafting a high quarterback, and no signing a quarterback to a long-term deal that's not proven.
You got a 6th-round pick to trade. That's it. Like my man Ben Violin.
I don't want to give a 6th round for nobody.
Right. But say this. Say we're gonna trade a 6. You could either get Mayfield or Minshew. Who you taking?
Neither.
Because it's Minshew. No. You gotta pick one.
Death. He just wants you to say Gardner Minshew, the white Cam Newton, which is not. He is not.
Did you see that joint about Judon and Mac Jones and the drip?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. Well, you finish. You get this. Keep this conversation going. I'm gonna give you the best video ever.
Well, so how about this? Before we go forward, man, listen. The Panthers season is almost over, so it's like you have to take heed of things while you still have the ability to. And we've become accustomed to doing something in season that feels oh so good. It's a little bit right. It's a little bit wrong. But you come here because you love it. CK, talk to these people, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the final week in the regular season of the Carolina Panthers.
2021 season was the most god-awful season I think I can recall as a Carolina Panther, and you guys showed up every single week to watch this podcast, to show support. You hit that subscribe button. You hit the share button. You let your family and friends know C3's here, even when the Carolina Panthers don't even show up and play good football. But you haven't hit that like button yet? Only you guys, you're just absolutely just freaks. This is your subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 157 strong people watching in the chat right now. 74 thumbs up. Hit the like button for your boys, man. You know, you have fun here on Tuesday nights, chopping it up with the boys, talking about the Carolina Panthers, man. You have more fun here than you do with this Panthers football team, bro. So hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Help us grow C3 Panther Nation. Tony Dunn, what you got queued up?
All right, this is it.
We've asked you a million times about Max growth this season, but I want to ask you a different level. When you got to get him going on some of this post-game drip?
Oh, Mac? It's a lost cause. You feel me? I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, Mac's a football player, and that's about it. He a great guy, football player, but drip is not him, man. Let him do what he do, man. Don't change the guy. Let him do what he do, man. He out there balling, having a hell of a season. And I'm just happy he out there.
Yeah. I heard there was two.
It's still playing, yeah. It's still playing right now. Yeah,
it's still playing. It's on your microphone, Tony.
Stop.
We've asked you a million times about Max.
Dude, the fact that he just outright laughed at him.
Laugh.
I mean, at the top of his lungs, man. Like, this dude ain't got no drip.
It's the best. It's just so funny. So funny, dude.
It is pretty hilarious, man.
Looking like he's like, no, remember that dad body joint where he walked up in there where he was where everybody played that video of Mac Jones walking, and I made fun of him. He does have a dad body.
Yeah. One last thing before we get to the cat calls. The Panthers have been flexed to 425. Yay. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are basically going to be, airing out all of our dirty laundry of how bad we are on prime time in the 4 o'clock window. And my question is to everyone: is this a blessing in disguise? Because we don't want Matt Rhule gone and out the door. But if he's going to fail on an even bigger stage, with more people watching the football game, it's almost better for our causes that more people watch us. So, like, my mindset is it's kind of a blessing in disguise putting us on later rather than burying us a bunch of right. 1 o'clock games. So, yeah, that's my question to both of you and everyone in the chat room. Could this actually help us fire Matt Rhule faster? Because we know we're getting destroyed, right? Like, come on, we're getting destroyed.
I mean, here's my thought, and it's complete opposite of that. Yes, I mean, I think there is value in us getting roasted and having it just be in prime time, because I mean, it's clear at this point in time, if you're going to have Romo and Nantz on there, this is going to be like last week when we got flexed. It wasn't a problem. Like, it was literally no problem with that whatsoever. Like, not even in the slightest, because it was good. Like, we were literally only in our markets, the Saints market and the Panthers market. There was no nationwide coverage of that whatsoever. So I wasn't so worried. This time there is going to be nationwide coverage, but I'll tell you what I like about this 425 game is not saying that there's going to be value in it, but by the time that the 425 game comes along, we're going to know whether or not we have the opportunity to move to the 4th spot, and I'm pretty sure, I think the other two teams that we're going to be like in contention of the 4th pick are going to be playing before we play at 4. Right. So we're going to know whether or not losing is going to help us and whether winning is going to hurt us by that point. And so if we go into that and there is literally no value in losing, no value in winning, we can root for our Panthers again, right? We can be an actual fucking fan and say, let's beat the Bucs and ruin their day. and make them look shitty and go on to the playoffs without, with that monkey on their back. They got beat by the Panthers. Now, that being said, do I think it's going to happen? No. I think the best case scenario is Matt Rhule gets fired because this is just a god awful game.
What we're at 425. They flexed us because we're playing the Bucs. That's why.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Who else is playing the Rams? CK, how did you pull that cool map up? You remember when you sent that? We thought we were on the national stage before, and
it's the Panthers will do that on a weekly basis, how to watch the game, how to watch or listen to the game, and I usually pull it from that. It's the NFL broadcast map.
Here are the 4 o'clock games. Saints Falcons 425, Seahawks Cardinals 425, Panthers Bucks 425, 49ers Rams, that's going to be, and Patriots Dolphins, Jets Bills. I would think Patriots Dolphins and Niners Rams would be the biggest market games there. Probably. That'd be interesting to see. One of the best tweets I saw today, Cody, was Tony Romo's going to be calling Sam Darnold picks 2 plays before they happen. Yeah, he's telling you, oh man, it's about to be, he's checking down, he's doing this. It's like, oh, Sam Darnold's going to throw a pick next play.
Yep. On the next play, they're going to see him checking on the slot, and they're just going to jump the route, and boom, there it is, Jim.
I don't know if we're a national game just because we're flexed.
Well, no, listen, us being flex has absolutely.
But this is a national. Is this the crew? Is this the crew that's going to be calling the game for sure?
Yeah.
Oh, then we're the national game.
Yeah, that's
that's what I'm saying, man. And listen, it has nothing to do with us. We know that. It's simply because we're playing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and on the back of all the drama they've just went through with Antonio Brown, and they're still going through with Antonio Brown. So it's it's just a byproduct of us having to play them. The good thing about it, though, is that our ineptitude is going to be on display for the world. Like, for everyone watching this game, they're going to be able to see what the Panthers have going on.
Yep.
And I like that, though, because it puts even more heat on David Tepper when you see just how bad this football team actually is. And you're going to have someone like Tony Romo pointing out just exactly how terrible we are, for the world. And I like that, though, because I think it puts more pressure on David Tepper to actually fix the problems.
He's fantastic, isn't he, by the way?
Who, Romo?
Tony.
I love him. He's my favorite, man. A lot of people hate him. I don't know why.
He's tremendous. And what was really is interesting to me is that he says that's a bad call. That's a bad call. He'll say it.
Oh, yeah.
And, do you want to hear something
thank God he doesn't work for the NFL. You know what I mean? He doesn't work for the NFL. He works for CBS or whatever. But he will. In the last game he called, he said those are 2 bad. He said 2 bad calls.
Did you hear? Did you hear the positive words that Aaron Rodgers had to say about Greg Olsen?
Yeah, I did. I heard that this morning. That he was one of his favorite commentators.
One of his favorite
commentators.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers
said about Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
Wow, man, Aaron Rodgers watching the thing. All right, the number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Give us a thumbs up. If you like the Panthers, give us a thumbs up. If you hate Matt Rhule, give us a thumbs up. If you call Matt Rhule a fool, and call into the show and tell us what's on your mind, 252-228-5098. It's time for the cat calls.
Your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So, how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, what's going on, boys? It's Coach from Wilmington. No, I don't got much
What's up, Coach?
to say. I don't. After that loss against a fucked up Saints team, I'm not gonna say anything about that. It is what it is. But I do want to say I appreciate you boys. I listen to you guys day in, day out on Spotify.
Nice.
Sometimes I made it to like your guys live on YouTube, maybe like once or twice, but I've been busy with schooling, trying to get through college and working, providing everything. I got a baby coming in April.
Oh shit! Congratulations,
yeah,
Papa.
Fast. I'm only 20 years old, but it is what it is. You know, adulthood is here. But yeah, I appreciate you boys and everything you guys do, keeping us updated, letting us freaking come to this weekly therapy session. I wish it wasn't weekly, but it is. Maybe it won't be a big therapy session in the next few years. Who knows? But I love what you guys are doing, and I just want to say to all those other Panther fans, man, keep your head up. You know what I mean? We got the cards dealt to us. We played them the best we could as a fan. Our coaches did not play their cards correctly, but we'll see what our future holds. We'll see what the draft takes us, free agency and trade. But, you know, keep pounding, boys, and everybody keep their heads up. There's always more to come in the future. So I love you, boys. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Coach. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, man, congratulations. You got a baby coming soon. Hey, man, that's a blessing. That's another little Panther fan that you have to show the way to, man. And listen, we do it for callers like y'all, for everyone in the chat room, for everyone who calls in that's, been a part of this community that we've been building here, man. You know, I said it last week. We look forward to coming and hanging out with you guys just as much as you guys enjoy coming to hang out with us, man. So it's definitely appreciated. I know I speak for Tony as well. We appreciate the C3 community that we've built up here, man.
No doubt. A couple of things about that is some of my best friends in life are people that I've met physically just once or twice or nuns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that it's awesome. I truly think that, and I'm not saying that our podcast did this for other people, right? But this podcast and the community that supports this podcast did this for me, made the pandemic easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got up, my wife was going stir crazy at one point. She was like wanting to have friends. She was like, "Can we have a small party?" I mean, I was like, "Man, fuck this. Is it just Tuesday?"
Yeah,
you know,
right?
man. Like I've been hanging out with my friends every week. She's like, you need to go out with my wife. She's a very plan oriented person. I'm on the non-plan plan. That's how my life is. It's like I like to go out. Like if I go to the bar, I just go and then I meet, I talk, and then when somebody texts me, and then we're there to get, it's organic. It's organic. My wife is a very plan person. Plan. And she was like, but when you're a planner, you have a lot of friends too, right? Because you prioritize, like, hey, let's go get lunch on Tuesday. Like my best friends, they know me. Like I ain't gonna call you for 2 years. You probably gotta call me. My best friends know this. I barely check my text messages. Like I don't check my voicemails. I don't my voicemail has been full since 2017. In fact, I got a new phone today and I deleted all my voicemails only because I didn't have to listen to them because I had this visual voicemail that came with it. I'm not sure if my voicemail really works, but I will never check it. I will never check it. Like I'm a non-plan. I'm on the non-plan plan. I'm an organic dude, but this group that we've been hanging out with, so she has all these friends and she gets mad at me. She's like, you ain't got no friends. You're like, well, you ain't gonna do. I'm like, man, I got all the friends. I got like hundreds of
Shit.
friends. Man.
You're hanging out with 131 of them right now, man.
I know.
We're
I'm
just
like,
chilling.
I'm just gonna go upstairs in the office. I'm gonna be hanging out with dudes all day. She's like, man, I'm just watching TV. Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, she needs to start a podcast.
Please don't tell her that. Do you know how much planning? You know what? Her podcast would be the best podcast. She would have guests lined up for 2 years.
The next 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
The problem is getting those guests to maintain and actually show up.
Yeah,
the problem is they don't have a plan. 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, something I've been thinking about this whole year. We've been talking about the issues that we've been having with the offensive line, and I just think every time we talk about some of the best Carolina Panthers to ever play, we never bring up Ryan Khalil, and I think this year we're really missing that leadership. I mean, one, he was talented, but two, like the communication across the line. So I think we just need to put a little respect on his name going forward when we talk about some of the best Panthers players, because right now we could.
All right, so Ryan Khalil actually, great call, right? And I'll say this is because Ryan Khalil was part of that. You know, he was there. You know, Ryan Khalil had a lot of personality too. He wasn't just a dull, we didn't ever hear from him. You know, Ryan Khalil took out a full-page ad in the News and Observer in Cam's second year, the 2012 year, saying they guaranteed a Super Bowl. So he had some vibrato. Is that the word? Is that what they say?
Bravado.
Bravado. Vibrato is what singers say.
Yeah.
Singers do. He had some bravado. But he also did become a very important leader and a mainstay on that team, or for the Carolina Panthers team at the end. So I just remember we were joking on about the neck joint at the end.
Mm-hmm. It was just every time, every season, every game.
Well, yeah, because I remember you were like, what, did he sleep on his pillow wrong?
My joke was he got it at the adult theater. He got it at the adult theater. He hurt his neck at the adult theater. He
was a big time movie fan. He's a Star Wars fan too. Remember, he made the Panther that was like Chewbacca. It was like the woolly Chewbacca looking Panther. He made shirts with them too, man. Yeah, dude, look. I think we have all been looking back at some of the best Panthers O-linemen and really been reminiscing and missing those guys on these teams, man. And yeah, shout out to the caller, because Ryan Khalil was one of the most important offensive linemen to ever play for the Panthers. Everything that he did,
he was a leader. He was a
leader, but he was so damn good at his job too. And it was so important in helping Cam Newton become, confident behind all those offensive lines that made playoff pushes. And by the way, when you have plays like these, where you have 73 here, just, I mean, what are they even doing? Blocking absolutely no one. I know that's not the center.
They hugged each other.
Yeah, look, he went to help the center.
It's so awesome. This is the best.
It's so stupid. Look at number 73 right there. Look, he's, instantly trying to take himself out of the play, not looking anywhere in front of him to see who's coming. Instantly looking right.
Oh, he missed the.
He blocked his own guy.
Yes, I'm telling you. And look, and you know what? John Miller put the weakest ass fight block back at him too. They get neither of them blocked each other. They just play patty cake in the middle of the field. They play patty cake together.
It's my God. It's pretty embarrassing, man. When you take from one end.
It is a bunch of morons, dude. They're morons.
Yeah, and dude, this is what I was saying about us playing Tampa Bay in prime time. The Tampa Bay defense is one of the best at running stunts like this. And the fact that the Panthers had no answer for it, it shows how underprepared we are. The coaches are not preparing them with the proper game plan on how to be successful, on top of the fact that you're just letting these terrible players play on our offensive line, and they continue to stink up the joint.
It does show you. Look, and back to the call, right?
Yeah.
Just let's circle back to Ryan Khalil is a Pro Bowl center, right? Is that a center that Matt Paradis couldn't barely hold his jockstrap to, you know? So, and by the way, we're missing Matt Paradis. So yeah, you could say, oh, we're missing Matt Paradis, but Cody didn't like him anyway. But he wasn't he's never been the player that Ryan Khalil was.
Especially
right?
The
but
person
Ryan
that
Khalil he glued that offensive line together. You know, he's a leader among a bunch of offensive lines that were terrible. In fact, I've been looking for this tweet. I can't find it. Somebody can find my own tweet. Somebody put a tweet up that said, I didn't think I could imagine a line worse than 2020s until I saw this one. And when they put this tweet up and everybody loved it, they were like, this is awesome, you know. And I thought, man, you could just change the year for this every year for the Carolina Panthers. Like, I could have said that in 2016. I could have said that in 2017. You know, like it's like I could not imagine a worse Panther line than last year until I saw this one. It's like the perpetual. We're like Sisyphus. Isn't Sisyphus the Greek mythology, the one where the water comes up to him or something? He almost drowns. Like it's like the same thing over and over. Oh, look at you. Look at my man.
I'm the man, dude. You know.
You are the man. He said this, Marty Jackson, at Marty Jackson 2 said, I never thought it would be possible to construct an offensive line group that was worse than 2020 Panthers, but this past year has been full of surprises. And we could just pick any year.
Yep.
2012. You know what I mean? Like just pick any, just put the year in, and that's what we're talking about. But the difference with this offensive line, last year's offensive line, and probably the year before, is the missing of a person like Ryan Khalil.
Yep.
Despite us having shitty guards and shitty tackles and this and that, we have one person who was good and a leader. And once we lost Jordan, we lost two people that you could put bums beside them and they would raise those dudes up. Now we've got mediocre guys trying to raise bums up, and it's just not working.
Yeah, and then you had Trey Turner playing last night for the Pittsburgh Steelers, doing pretty well. I don't know how Andrew Norwell is doing. I know he's on a terrible football team down there in Jacksonville, but dude, those three guys, Andrew Norwell,
a thing of the past, man. Him and Trey Turner, that's like 5 years ago, dude.
But the main point that I'm saying is that those three are the unsung heroes of that incredible season that we had. That was the best offensive interior line.
Who they were without Khalil, I guess is my point. Is that
for sure.
He gave those youngins an opportunity to I won't say
get rich.
True. Actually, that's smart. Both of those mugs are like, they both made more money than Ryan Khalil.
Right.
I still would have done everything in my power to keep those three around, just to maintain that continuity of a dominant offensive interior that allowed Cam Newton to step up into the pocket, distribute the football. That's why that was Cam Newton's best pass.
Or we should have drafted the next ones. We just didn't. No. You know, that's the thing, is it's fine to let the big dog walk, but you got to draft other ones behind them. Norwell was a find, undrafted free agent. Trey Turner arguably was Dave Gettleman's best draft pick ever. I mean, I want you to go back and look at Dave Gettleman's history. And after 1 year, I think it was the 2015 year, the 2015 draft, where we all celebrated. I was all Dave Gettleman for president. We go to like Funch, like all these things, like all these guys came up, and I mean, every person contributed that year. And they did a redraft, and like 5 of our picks were first round picks. But then 2 years later, none of those guys were in the league still. The thing about Dave Gettleman is that I want to say, what was his best draft pick? Tell me who his best draft pick was.
Maybe Christian McCaffrey.
That was a no-brainer, though. I
A
wouldn't even
7, a running back at 7.
I mean, who's had more fanfare out of all the players that Gettleman has picked? Who had more fanfare?
Trey Turner is his best draft pick. It's Trey Turner.
Okay.
Do we want
to? What about Carolina Short?
Close. I would say that's arguable.
Star Latulele.
No, that doesn't count.
How about Trey Turner? Yeah, I just said Trey.
Oh, I just did say, yeah, I said it was Trey Turner. No, it's either K1 or Star. I mean, K1 or Trey Turner. Star Latulele was a top 3 pick who then got the flu and they thought he had a heart problem and dropped. And we were like, oh, wow, a top 3 pick dropped to 13. Like, he fell. Like, I mean, that was like a no-brainer. That's kind of like saying Marty Herney's best pick was Greg Hardy. Well, Greg Hardy got in legal trouble, and then he got... That's not the best.
I'm just fucking with you, dude. Obviously,
don't fuck, man. You know what? Coney Ely is one step away from being Von.
Super Bowl
He's
MVP,
one game
man.
away, Von Miller. I don't know. I think it's Trey Turner. I want you guys, hey, chat, tell us who the best Dave Gettleman pick was. I think it is Trey Turner. It's either KK or Trey Turner. That's the truth. 252-228-5098.
Hey, good afternoon, boys. Tuesday afternoon. Beautiful day here in the Triad. Not even talking about the games anymore. I'm actually got this feeling the first time as a Panthers fan. At the end of the Saints game, I said, oh, God, we have one more game left. It's kind of torture to have to go through another game with Tampa Bay. But anyway, I'm curious to know, like, real conversations about what are we going to do this off season. I mean, I feel like there's so much needs to be done. Do you guys think we'll get it all done? Anyway, keep pounding.
All right, so what do we have to do this off season? Right, big question, tough question. One question that we have to do is wait and see what the landscape's going to look like. Right. Is will the coaching staff be there? But at the end of the day, we know this is that the Panthers offensive line, even finally, again, we know also that the Carolina Panthers listen to the C3 Panthers podcast. They don't retweet us like they read. The Panthers Twitter retweets a lot of people that even talk junk about them. How have they never retweeted me? I don't get it. But they do listen to our podcast, and finally, they have said this. Matt Rhule came out and said, we have to invest in the offensive line. The word invest tells me right away they listen to this podcast. Right?
I hope so,
what
man.
I've been saying. We have not invested. So the very first thing we have to do in this offseason is invest in the podcast, in the offensive line. And when I say that, is there's a multitude of ways of doing that. Or not a multitude. There's 2 ways of doing that, draft and free agency. How far are we really away? I know we feel like we're so far. It feels so far away. Right, we got so many positions to fill, but you like Brady Christiansen. Right?
I do.
Is there a way to quickly one big piece in free agency, one big draft pick next year in the first round, all of a sudden this offensive line is significantly better? Is that possible?
I mean,
or is this going to be something that's going to take us 2-3 years, dude?
I think it could take us 2 or 3 years, but also, and listen, man, I know I sound like a broken record. I apologize, but it is what it is. We don't know how many pieces away we are on the offensive line because we don't know what we have in 2 of our younger players. I mean, Deontay Brown is somebody that I really liked coming out of college. The only reason that he fell was due to weight issues. And by the way, I'll share a clip like this. You see the man do something like this in preseason. This is Deontay Brown right here, number 77. Or no, this one right here. And see if you can spot the difference in what Deontay Brown does versus what every other guy on the offensive line did. By the way, many of whom started numerous games this year for us. And when we have a player
He
like
punched that guy in the face. That's what he did. He didn't do anything
shoved
but punch that
backward
dude
with
in the face.
force. There was no punch to the face. It was, hey, little man, get the fuck off me because I'm the bigger, more dominant force, and you're not touching my quarterback. By the way, I loved Deontay Brown when I saw him at Alabama. I saw him do this a ton, and we still don't know what kind of player we have. Then, how about this? What if Brady Christiansen ends up being a very good left tackle, but doesn't end up being very good at guard because he's never had to play that position before? So then we might have drafted Brady Christiansen for nothing if we're going to end up putting him at a bunch of different.
Who is this poor seven? Who is the guy
one.
beside him? Who's the white guy getting fucked up beside him? This is funny.
This
All right. Right beside.
No, this is this
Who
is
this?
Christensen.
Oh God. That's Brady Christiansen. Oh,
Yeah, because I think they put him at
he's getting
center.
messed up.
Yeah, again
Let's
though,
go
but
back.
like,
Look,
that
play it one
was
more time.
him
Let's
at
see if it is-
center.
It don't matter. So your boy.
I think that
getting
was him.
Busted up.
It might have been 71. It's
So
hard
you
to
got
tell.
one
right
guy.
there.
You're trying to tell me one guy is pushing the guy back because he's a big man and this and that, and the other guy's getting his ass whooped, and you're
You
like,
don't see it?
oh, he's
What don't
good.
you see? Shoves him right back.
Look at this guy, man. Poor. Look at that. Did you see him go to the right? This 71 dude just getting.
Yeah, dude, he got mollywopped. So when you ask how many players we are away, Joseph Cagle said 71, so that wouldn't be Christensen. But yeah, listen, we honestly don't know how many players we are away from being able to actually fix the offensive line. And yet I could still see us drafting O-line, going O-line in free agency, and maybe Deontay Brown.
Two free agency joints.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. And then a lot of people still aren't convinced that the Panthers don't draft a quarterback. And that might not be what we want.
It's a waste.
But we don't know.
Is it a waste?
To draft a quarterback? Yeah, with the offensive line as undetermined as it is.
Like, wouldn't it be wrong to play him? Like, all right, so first of all, if you drafted a quarterback in the top, say the top 6, right? So you got the guy you wanted. You got your guy, Pickett, whoever the hell he is, Corral. Who's the Carolina dude?
Pickett? No, Sam Howell?
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I'm not big on Sam. But we'll get into that.
He's all putting the Jesus quotes out there, pulling the Tim Tebow joints, throwing. I mean, he was all right. But I don't trust. Yeah, nobody looks like dominant to me. But say you get the guy you want. You can't, in good conscience, put him out behind the worst. What is the first thing we're going to be saying? You got to sit him for a whole year.
Yep.
Behind who?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Dude, then you're not sitting him for a year.
Yeah, you have to.
You're not going. No, but you're not going
put him
to,
behind a line. You can't send your. You might have a kid who's like the youngest. Have you ever seen these boxing videos? I love these little kids from Thailand that look like they're gonna grow up to be the best motherfucking. Like they beat your ass and they're 8. You ever seen those videos?
Yeah, but
they're like this and you're like, yeah, they're the best, but you can't send the kid out there in a war. I mean, you got to preserve him. Let him wait until he grows up a little bit.
But Sam, this is my point to everyone.
That quarterback out there. Imagine if we would have put that great. Imagine you putting Justin Fields. What would we be doing if we had Justin Fields right now and he started? What would
I mean,
he
he would
say?
have started no
He would have
matter
been
what.
like saying this. CK
No,
would
you're
have been
missing.
going this. I'm so tired of trying to have a conversation where I have to evaluate this rookie quarterback behind the shittiest offensive line in the history of the world.
But my point
you
is,
might as well. You
you're
have
going to
to
be
get
forced
them
to
build
play
the
them
wall.
anyway because
Build the
Sam
wall.
Darnold is not gonna hold up the entire season. He's either gonna get hurt or he's gonna start throwing a bunch of dumb interceptions.
We play
and then the
3
fans are gonna
quarterbacks,
boo,
bro.
and then they're gonna demand the rookie quarterback play.
PJ Walker, bro.
Dude, you know that Justin Fields, if we would have drafted him this year, he wouldn't have sat behind someone very long. He would have seen the field this year. Sam Darnold would not have prevented him from seeing the field.
You know what? You're right. He would have.
But that's the point. We should have kept Teddy and done that.
You would have seen Justin Field, and you would have seen Justin Fields come out and do just as bad as Cam Newton has done, as Sam Darnold's done against with this offensive line. So we made the absolute best decision we ever made, not going with Justin Fields, because he deserves a better better organization than what we're able to give him. And that's less about the Panthers and more about Justin Fields.
Yeah.
CK has been right, and he's been on this for weeks. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to speak nothing.
I love this comment
until the damn offensive line gets fixed. Because until then, we're just going to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation will be this, is like, did we look at, all right, and I'm going to leave it at this. Trevor Lawrence, the greatest prospect in the history of prospects, according to Cody Lashley.
This is about to be
and I don't want you might look. The guy that one of my very good friends is a Jags fan, like a hardcore Jags fan. It's weird. I'm gonna tell you that. First of all, when you meet a hardcore Jags fan, it's weird. I'm like, damn. I mean, he loves to talk about football, every time.
Man, y'all exist.
I'm like, God damn. I thought my life sucked. I walked into the gym today, and he's my trainer too, by the way. He's awesome. He goes, fucking Trevor Lawrence sucks.
Oh, God.
No, and look, and he told me this, is that Trevor Lawrence actually set the record for rookie passing yards ever. Right, because they throw 57 times, 50, whatever. But like, he also has thrown more interceptions than anybody in his life, his whole life. He's sitting there worried. Did we break Trevor Lawrence? Right away. That's what the conversation he's having. And that's the number 1 pick, Cody. That's the greatest prospect ever pick. And even that man has fucking fallen by the worst, right? That's the offensive line. That would be what it would be here.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying here. We're not trying to talk shit about Trevor. This isn't Trevor Lawrence shade. This ain't shade about Justin Fields. This ain't shade. The problem is that if you draft a quarterback next year and then you start him, guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be having the same conversation that CK said. Is he good? Are we killing him? Or we have to get this line better quickly. And the question is does that take 1 year, 2 years? Or are we destined to just be face fucked by defense for the rest of our life? Next call.
Yo, guys. It's Nick from up here in Mass.
What's up, Nick?
Look, my sister's boyfriend, he's like 50 years old. They've been together for the last 12, 14 years, something like that. Always been a great guy. Always been great with the rest of my family, everything like that. Always been a Steelers fan his whole life. So, got him tickets for him and my sister, which, mind you, my sister doesn't know shit about football. Only watches it because he's interested in it, that sort of deal. She's actually starting to get the hang of it, which is pretty cool. Okay, but they went down to see Big Ben's last game at home yesterday. Okay, And they texted me today saying how thankful they were, and it's awesome, you know. But I asked them, like, you know, for shits and giggles, did they do anything special to give Ben, like, the proper send-off? And my sister said, yeah, the entire game, they were chanting, thank you, Ben, all around the entire city. It was thank you, Ben, you know, that sort of deal, all over clothing, everywhere. Okay? Now I get it. When Cam Newton went down in 2019, it was the beginning of the season. Nobody knew that it was going to be his last season in Carolina. Okay? And let's face it, I'm not calling this quote-unquote return of Cam Newton. We didn't do him justice. The fact that he only played one snap in Tampa Bay, the last home game of the season, fuck you, Matt Rhule. You are a fucking idiot. Anyways, look, we never gave this man a proper send-off. I was at Cam's last game before he got cut. Okay? It was the Monday night game or the Thursday night game against Tampa Bay. And y'all booed him off the fucking field.
I still think I was there, but CK reminds me.
Y'all booed him numerous times throughout the game, and you booed him off the field. All right? And I get it. You didn't know that it was going to be his last game. But we haven't done anything for this man. You know? And as much as I want to
used
re-sign
him,
Cam
man.
Newton, who, let's face it, he will always be the most important quarterback that Carolina has ever had. Okay?
True.
Down the road, he might not necessarily be the best, but he is the most important one. He is the one that put us on the map and made us a contender for almost 10 years. Okay? Yes, we had winning seasons, we had losing seasons, but he made us contenders for numerous years while he was in Carolina, and we did not do the man justice. So you know what? I hope we don't re-sign him, and I hope he goes and plays for the Steelers, and I hope he kicks our ass next year. Because I'm going to be at that game, and I'm going to be rooting for Cam if he is a Steeler. So, love the show, guys. I have a whole bunch more to say, but I'm going to wait until Friday.
All right, so look, as I know some people that
Appreciate
are anti-Cam are not going to like this. Nick, first of all, is like one of the best dudes you're ever going to meet. So he cares about people, right? And I think that, number one, that's where the Cam Newton issue is going to be dear to his heart, right? And probably too, as a football fan who was probably brought in by a player like Cam Newton, also important. CK is always, I've continued to say that I was there when Cam Newton played his last play, but CK reminds me it wasn't. It was the Rams game, right? Wasn't it the opener we were at?
Yeah, we went to it was the
first game of the season, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the
Something like that.
Rams. I think it was the Rams we saw. But anyway, I still think it was. But it is. Look, is that Cam Newton is probably the most important person to this franchise. And I know people want to say Sam Mills because they keep pounding logo, you know, and they want to. It's not virtue signaling. That's not the right term, but you know, it's so easy to say. But I mean, most of his career was the Saints. Yeah, Cam is our first superstar. Anyway, I will cut my ponytail. I will cut this off if we get a better quarterback than Cam. When and if. I can't wait. I can't
So does
wait.
that mean you're never cutting your hair until
No,
you
not
have
going
a
that
reason?
far. Not that going that far. But I'm telling you, like, is that he said that he is the best and will be the best for a while. Like, if we could get someone that's even in the realm of Cam Newton in the next 5 years, this dude right here is going to be sexual on this podcast. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, do you know how much we miss that? How we miss our North Star. And you can talk all the shit you wanted about. We don't have Cam no more. And Cam's not the same no more. And bringing Cam back next year will not be that. But he was our John Elway of our franchise. He was our damn it. And I'm not trying to compare him to them, but he was that for us. And so when you talk about a Big Ben where they give him that giant send-off, and, you know, I would say What do you guys think that Big Ben deserves that send off?
Yeah,
dude. I mean, yeah, I do.
Controversial.
I do, and
Joan said this. She would not watch The Rapist. That was it. She said, "I will not watch a snap from The Rapist." I was like, God.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not going to tell a woman how to feel.
I mean, hey, you should better hope that Deshaun Watson's name doesn't get cleared and David
it's a
Tepper
little
gets
different.
thirsty for it.
There is a strong case that Roethlisberger ass raped a girl in the bathroom.
There was a lot more than that too.
Suspended for 4 games for it, dude.
He did a whole bunch. He also dude, I read articles that he was
say that he had a porn addiction,
exposing himself to women also.
But being I'm just saying this is that he and we are able to forgive a lot or overlook because we like football so much. But he only won 1 Super Bowl. They say he's he's been.
I thought he won 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, he won 2.
Was it 2?
Yeah, he won 2. He won one with Jerome Bettis. And then he beat the Cardinals. Was that the same? I guess I just need to look it up.
I don't know, but my video.
Yeah, it was 2. Chat room.
Is my audio okay?
Your webcam is frozen.
I know. Is my audio okay? So I can just
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Here's the next call.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's Corey calling in. It's Tuesday, so I don't even know if y'all are gonna get to this call or not. But I was just listening to the post game show, this past post game show, man, and I heard the call from my man Noah, and it just made me think, bro. It kind of got me, in my feels a little bit because obviously we all frustrated as Panthers fans. Shit ain't going great right now. And I have no idea how knowing how old Noah is, man, but I'm led to believe, back in 2015, bro, there's a good chance he was too young to even, really be watching football like that,
that's what I'm saying.
To even understand what was really going on. That's coming up on 7 years ago now. And he reminded myself a lot like me, man. I'm not like an old guy. I'm 24, but shit, I was that same kid. I'm sure a lot of us were. We were watching the Panthers, and it's not like even they were just bad. They were just whack, bro. We had no exciting players. It wasn't fun to watch. There was nobody cool that anybody wanted to be like, you know what I'm saying, other than Steve Smith. But it got to the point where he could only do so much. The Panthers just weren't a cool team. We weren't exciting. We weren't nothing. And we got Cam, and he kind of turned the franchise around, him along with other players, and it just kind of revamped the franchise. It brought this new life to the fan base, man. So I guess there's no real point in my call, man. But I just want to say to Noah and pretty much all the younger fans out there, man, if anybody.
Fantastic call. And see, okay, that's what I was saying to Tony the other day when me and Tony kind of went after it a little bit because, these younger fans, at least me and you remember 2015.
Yeah.
We all do. We remember 2013.
Players like Cam Newton don't come around every once in a while, man.
Oh, it's still going.
This is a low that we have, and it's better to tough out the hard times, man. Because, like I said, it's hard to watch right now. Even if you are a Panthers fanatic, bro, you love them to the death. It's just hard to watch. It's just not good product to put out, but it will turn around, man. I will say it's up to the team to put out a better product because they can't just expect fans to just lay down and take the shit that they're doing, man. But just stay in there, man, because it does turn around. It does get better. And even if we're not Super Bowl contenders every year, bro, it's gonna be fun watching games. It's just pretty shitty right now. But that's all I had to say, man. Just like I said, man, we coming up on the end of the year, but keep pounding y'all. And obviously, man, appreciate all the shows y'all do, man. Peace.
Appreciate you, brother. Keep pounding. And yeah, it's like I was saying, okay, when you have these young fans who might not have the connection to the better Panther seasons that we've been able to experience, it's hard to then ask them to hang on to the football team and continue to be a fan of the football team going forward, man. Dude, I think Noah breaks everyone's heart, dude. It's like that kid pulls at your heartstrings when you hear the angst in his young voice talking about this terrible football team and what it does to him.
It's authenticity, bro. That's what it is.
And that's the danger,
true.
man. We can't let it
I hope
happen.
he's the next call. But what if he's the next call? That'd be awesome. Let's see.
Good evening, boys.
Nope.
It's your boy Nick calling from out in Seattle.
Oh,
what's up,
Hope
Nick?
y'all are having a wonderful Tuesday so far. So I have a question to pose to see what your thoughts and opinions are of this. Now, I'm from Seattle, so I'm very familiar what it looks like when an owner comes in and strips a team with the narrative to do something different than what the fans are being told. What do you boys think about the possibility that David Tepper is doing what he's doing to potentially move the Panthers? Is that something y'all think is realistic?
You asked that 2 years ago. You asked that 2 years ago. We might say yes. But the Rock Hill, South Carolina complex and the addition of the soccer team, I think alone make it too much. Right? I mean, like you can't move all that. You're moving facilities at that point.
Yeah.
And you can't move facilities. You can move both teams, maybe. That would be dicey. You wouldn't have built all that. You wouldn't have built this city on rock and hill.
Yeah, and that new facility that we're building, that's not going to get up and move too, and that's going to be a state of the art new practice facility. I did read some news that David Tepper did purchase some land or some lot near the stadium that they might be trying
tailgate lots.
Yeah, tailgating and stuff like that, which I'd be down for. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think the Panthers are going anywhere. And then I
don't think you want to. I think it's a busted narrative to move right now. I think that North Carolina is a attractive place for business. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a financial sector. First of all, Tepper, who is big into finance, is in a finance city. That's not the worst gig for him.
Charlotte's
I'm just trying to think of like what cities are so much more attractive, right? The Midwest has been dying. The Rust Belt has been dying. The North is full of taxes. I mean, it's really like San Antonio or bust.
No, so Austin, the city
that's right. Yeah, Austin. So Austin
the
is
city that's been getting the
nice.
most talk is Austin, especially during the pandemic with people moving out of New York, out of LA.
But we're not that far different. It's not a far. We're not a far cry from that. And what I mean by that, it'd be one thing is like if the Jets were like, we're trying to get the fuck out of here.
But also, in the last time I had checked, Charlotte is still the largest growing city in the Southeast. So it's not like this is a bad market. We're a growing market.
Yeah, good taxes. No, it's straight.
Yeah.
North Carolina
there's young people here.
Place.
Yeah, we just have to continue to build, and that's what we want to see from David Tepper. That he was supposed to build the first time and start to implement coaches that knew what they were doing and GMs that knew what they were doing, and it just doesn't seem like any of that's happened.
Let me ask you this: is that in the best scenario? Say I give you a magic like the genie lamp, and you can move somewhere. Like you can take this team and move it anywhere. And I don't need a place. My questions are, what are the attributes what you would need? Like what would that place need to have, right? First, you would need to sell out the stadium all the time. Right? Well, we sell out the stadium all the time because we have PSLs. And Jerry Richardson was brilliant on the PSL joint. Ruined the fan culture, but brilliant. Like, man, they don't ever not sell out. So, like, any game, like, I mean, when you look at those empty seats, them seats are paid for, homie.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so, like, you see empty seats, but they've been paid for. So, you don't got to worry about that. Like, what would you need it used to be TV market, I think. Right? You would get a bigger share. Like it's kind of like college football, like being in this different conference would allow you to get a bigger TV deal.
Yeah.
Is that the same now, though? I'm sure it helps a little bit if you're like in California or something, you get an extra 10 million people. But now with the internet and the way we watch the red zone and things like that, I don't know if that is like, what would be the big benefit to moving, like to pick your best place, pick the best place? What would be the advantage financially of moving the team?
I mean, the only thing that makes sense would be a bigger market, but again, that's
and you have to be good then.
Yeah.
Right? Like I mean, think about this. If you put a team that sucks in LA, nobody watches them. They don't give a fuck. You got to be good. Interesting.
Well, and you have to have a reason to hope that they will be good at some point in time. So, for example, if you live in Los Angeles, be a Chargers fan. They have a damn good quarterback that's on his second year of his deal, a brand new head coach that's aggressive. They have a bunch of good players. Yeah, you want to jump onto a team like that. And if you're a fan like Noah and you're a kid his age, man, you see that team and go, well, man, even if this year doesn't pan out, I can see a lot of hope going forward in the future and what they're doing. And honestly, Tony, and I've been telling you this for a while. I really don't like the market question, the way that we have it, man. Like, what market is better than another one? Dude, Kansas City Chiefs weren't a big time market. The Green Bay Packers were not a big time market. The Pittsburgh Steelers,
but they have history. That's not fair. It's not a fair.
But that's my point, though.
That's
you
history.
build up history as you continue to prove yourself and put winning.
That's not the modern era, bro. That's not the modern era. The modern era is about getting the merchandise sales, the this and that. So it's not about like what we're going to be in. Green Bay will be the only reason they are not trying to move Green Bay as a team is that they have a long history. They're owned by the people and they're good. But I mean, think about this. I mean, like you might
it goes away.
Like, how is this? Is that, in 10 years, we might be talking about the Detroit Lions not being in Detroit no more. Right. It's like, I mean, like, nobody wants to live in Detroit, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, it's all these things. Detroit used to be this big metropolitan area. There. All right. So I guess my last, it's not my last question, but I'm trying to search for reasons. Think about who's the guy that moved Oakland?
I forget his name, the owner.
Mike
Mark,
something now.
Mark something, the owner of the
Mark Davis.
Yeah, Davis.
Yeah,
Mark Davis.
Al Davis was his dad.
You got the stupid.
So why did they move from Oakland to Las Vegas? Well, one, it's like the stadium, right? That was a big deal. But the idea is he's like putting it in a place where you're going to have like so much draw, so much merchant, you know what I mean? Is it more than just the stadium? I don't know if the Carolina Panthers are that different if they move to Austin.
No. Yeah.
Right?
All the big time destinations are gone. LA is gone. Las Vegas is gone.
We can make ourselves a big destination by winning.
That's what I was saying. You become one of those. The size of the market doesn't matter when you're
Especially
a football team that is a perennial contender.
It mattered 20 years ago. It mattered 10 years ago, I bet.
Not the internet.
I promise you today, the internet has changed the game, homie. Like the way it's infused into our life. Just think about 10 years ago. Like if you wanted 20 years ago, if you want to know the answer or something, you didn't just pull your phone out. Right? I mean, we follow the Panthers. Look at this. We're on the internet doing this joint right now. Look at the Panthers social media. It's as big as some of the old school names. I don't know. I don't know if the same metrics of markets share transition anymore, but I do think it's probably related to merchandise, probably. So if you do have 50 million people living in that area, that probably, if you sold one T-shirt to 5 million people versus 275,000 people, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So it's probably in merchandise, I bet, because we sell out. 252-228-5098.
What's up, C3?
There he is.
here.
Let's just be honest here today. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, this team is dog water. Horrible.
Like your style,
I
bro.
don't ever think, even if we get a good pick, so that it's going to do anything. I mean, let's just think about this. We have freaking a general manager that don't think right. We have a coach who's just stupid. I mean, the most stupidest person I can ever see in my life. And then we have David Tepper. He just go with the Brady bunch. I mean, it's crazy. They just thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3. They don't think. I mean, they just don't think. I mean, let's just think about this. We started 3-0. Had a good first season. Started 3-0. We were 5-11. This is not good. I mean, we're just horrible. We're just horrible. And even if we do get a good draft or like a good draft player, there's barely any good people in the draft. Let's be honest, people. It wasn't like a couple years ago. There's not a lot of good people in the draft this year. That's going to help out our team. I mean, last year's draft, we draft horrible. I mean, how, okay, we was like in the top 5, and then we went to go get Sam Darnold. Like,
He's
come
right.
on now.
He's right.
We're not making good
7, but
decisions
it's
here.
okay. Point stands
Like,
true.
make better decisions. Like, I don't know what's going on, but if I was in there, I swear, I can go in that front office and just help them, because this is sad. Sad.
I wish you could too, Noah.
Keep pounding.
Keep
My
pounding.
man.
Hey, let me speak to Noah real quick, because you mentioned the draft and you said that there's no good players in the draft. Well, I'm going to be covering draft players here on this channel very soon, but also there are always good players in the draft, Noah. There are always good players. The question is, do you have a general manager good enough to draft those good players? Because sometimes you have those diamonds in the rough, players that slip under the radar, that fall to the late rounds, that you pick up and they can actually play meaningful football. We're still hoping that Brady Christiansen and Deontay Brown can be that. But look at what Trey Smith, drafted in the 6th round, is doing for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. You know, we really just have to sadly give Federer some more time. And Noah, listen, if I'm a betting man, I kind of think that the Panthers, I don't think David Tepper is going to stay put with Matt Rhule. I think the amount of criticism and the amount of ire that he's been drawing, especially how we're going to finish out this season, losing, being the first 5-12 team after we started 3-0, dude, that is unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. Noah, I wish you were up there in that building to talk some sense to these people, because maybe it would have happened a little earlier. But I do think Matt Rhule is out the door, Noah. I do think so.
Tim Estes has been on point tonight. My man said Noah 2024. First of all, love it. Earlier, he said the reason the Panthers don't retweet you is because of that Derek Anderson joint back in the day. It was mad. So he knows. That's a OG right there. Tim Estes, OG, for knowing that. And Noah, I would say this is I'm ready to follow you, bro. I will follow wherever you go. I will follow you. I feel like I'm walking through the desert for 40 days.
Join the cult of
Noah. No, actually, no, that's Moses. I gotta go. Noah was the ark, right? We gotta get on the boat. Yeah. We gotta get on the boat with Noah. I would get on that boat. Noah's saying this. There's a flood a coming. I'm getting on it. I swear. Kids, wise beyond his years. The chat room loves him. The number is 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, Joey.
Good juxtaposition right here.
Yeah, right.
Because Jim Harbaugh is what everyone wanted Matt Rhule to be. Let's be honest. He's a college coach. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is he has a lot of college experience and he has a lot of NFL experience. Good quality NFL experience at that. Not getting not retrieving the dildo from the back room for the head coach of an NFL team.
We're on the
certain members of our coaching staff have. But he has built Super Bowl teams. And the only reason he went back to Michigan was because he got into it with Trent Baalke. And for some reason, the 49ers ownership liked Trent Baalke. I don't know why. But I bet you Shad Khan from the Jags could tell you, because he kept his ass, even though he fired Urban Meyer. But it was never his fault. He was never the bad one. You know, look what Trent Baalke went on not to do, which was be any good. He's basically Marty Herney. I'm talking about Trent Baalke, but yeah, it's time for Harbaugh to come back to the NFL, dude. And I hope it's with us, but if he doesn't want to come and be Captain Save-A-Ho for the Carolina Panthers, I don't think I blame him.
Enough with the zombie song in the back.
Anyway, guys.
Pause your music.
Wow. And before I go, fuck Matt.
Oh, we got kids listening to the show. Next call.
Man, I just feel like we out here just, I don't know what we're doing no more. It's kind of hard to even watch these games. It's just freaking terrible. Don't even make sense what we doing no more. They're rotating quarterbacks. The line is trash. Matt Rhule don't know what he's talking about. He be out there playing favorite. He clearly don't know how to make no adjustment. It's just a whole bunch of BS.
I mean, what are you saying that? I mean, like, my man just spoke the truth there.
Yep.
Offensive line is trash. Matt Rhule just keeps talking. And no one makes adjustments. I don't know if you can. I would be interested in saying this. All right, I did mention to you guys earlier, I wanted to circle back to the Saints game just for momentarily. Not a long time. Not a deep dive into the game. But I was emotional after this past loss. And one which is interesting, that I was so fired up after this past loss against the Saints when I was literally cheering when they did well. The Saints, not the Panthers. I was literally cheering because I did not want us to squeak out a win and for it to make this coaching staff look competent for a moment. And I'm not even saying the staff. I'm just saying Matt Rhule at this point. I feel like it's mean to talk junk about Jeff Nixon. I ain't even got no problems with that dude. I mean, I don't want him to be my next coach or nothing. But
so, dude,
I like this. If we come out and win this game next week against this backup, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we win 6 games. There is an argument there that you progressed by 1 game. You had, I mean, like there were some challenges. You got some things wrong, but things are going. But like it's not ready to sink the ship. It's scuttle the ship. I believe they say. Like it's like when you're trying to just. I feel like I don't want anything. I don't want no sleight of hand that confuses us on that. And it's not about draft picks for me at this point. So maybe I'm wrong. But if the Panthers go out and win this last game, doesn't make the question more complicated or any more complicated. And that's what I'm afraid of. Well, thank you, CK. Thank you for being a man of reason. All right. Well done.
Dude.
All right. Looking back at the game, just real quick, how bad was the Saints game? Because I've heard people saying that the defense, put up a good, look, first of all, we made the first half. This is what people would say. And I think it's a fair analysis. And the Carolina Panthers came out there and made the first, went up at the half, 10-9.
Yep.
Right. Defense put in difficult positions, kept them out of the end zone for a while. Right. Did some good, decent things. And the offense didn't. People would say that the defense showed a little heart, a little fight. Has your perspective changed? Because I still look at this game and I go, that's like me. I don't know. I don't even know what the right analogy is, but I don't find it's not a moral victory for me.
Well, Tony,
the defense not playing okay for 5 seconds. Is
it
not
then
a
to
victory.
the point that you have been trying to make all season, that any good thing that you say about our defense, you can look underneath it and see the caveats, right? Well, we can look at that Saints game and see that they've been missing starting offensive linemen all year. They have no receiver help. Taysom Hill is their starting quarterback. And by the way, forget what you think of him. He's also playing with a clubbed middle finger that saw Russell Wilson sit out 3 games earlier.
So he's
this
a
year.
busted bum.
So it's even more. It's like, even if you praise the defense, you still look at, okay, it wasn't against a very good offense, and they were still able to put up 18 points on us. So, there isn't really a way to think too differently about it, man. The Carolina Panthers simply don't have an offense. I mean, that's really as bad as it is. In fact, I'll pull it up here, Tony. You sent something to our chat room about
this the offensive line.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
How about people been talking junk about everybody else's offensive line, and ours is that there's only one worse, I think, and it's the Jags. I bet.
Yeah.
So right here, this is pass protection rankings. Los Angeles Rams being
the
number
Dolphins
1 out
are
of 100.
worse.
And somehow, some way, the Dolphins are worse. But by the way, the Dolphins beat the shit out of us.
Credit to them. Credit to them.
But also, our defense didn't do anything to the. We couldn't do shit to the Miami offense. Our defense couldn't do anything to them, so I don't even buy that. We have the worst.
Why is your boy
line
Trevor
in the
Lawrence so
NFL.
sorry?
Why is what?
Why is Trevor Lawrence so sorry?
Because have you seen what's going on down there? They have 0 fucking coaches. They have 0 receivers. 0.
They have They have a middle of the pack offensive line, though.
No, you're right. He
You
just
don't like to have
fucking
that.
sucks. No, you're right. Trevor's a girl. He's a transgender. He sucks. He shouldn't even be playing.
Whoa. I'm just saying. I'm actually. Is there anything surprising about this list? Actually, I would say this is that the fact that the Jags are that high surprises me.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
That would surprise me. The fact that the Dolphins are lower than us surprised me. I didn't think we would be at the bottom, but like you said, they beat the brakes off of us. And I know their defense did a lot of that. It does surprise me that Carolina is that low.
Dude, I'm surprised.
Is the Bengals are doing well.
That's the one. That's the one that surprises me.
Titans.
I talked about
this
already.
Better than us?
I talked about this already. Like, that's where you have to look at what coaching can do and scheming things up. And when you have a fantastic
overcoming.
You have an elite squad of offensive weapons down there now. Joe Burrow is really putting it on. At this point in time, that's why I said it after the post game. I said, when you see a team like the Bengals coming out here with a very bad offensive line, still doing the right thing. The problem is you can only do so much before your quarterback gets hurt, and that's what you saw happen at the end of the game when you saw Burrow come out of the game.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would say, it's interesting to me. Like, I expect a lot of these teams to be on the bottom of this list, right? Like, I expect the Giants to be on this list, the Texans to be at the bottom.
I see it.
Would not expect this about the Colts. I thought they would be.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
And I hope I'm reading it right. I'm reading it right. All right, so it goes 1 through 16 to Baltimore, and then so I think some of these are surprising numbers to me. And I think the Colts is a big surprise to me, and I think maybe the Titans a little bit of a surprise.
Even though it's still not a good number,
look at this.
Houston at 25 is kind of surprising too. I figured.
And isn't Chicago at 12 a giant surprise? That to me is it's like the inverse surprise. Chicago is like a pleasant surprise. How are they that high?
And then
I don't believe that.
CK was talking about.
I almost don't even trust this tab. Who made this?
I don't know. You're the one who shared.
Oh, it says notes blend of PFF.
Yeah, blend
grade.
of PFF and ESPN pass blocking win rate. CK was talking about the Bengals, and let me tell you, their offensive line might not be great, but they're not regretting drafting Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. That dude, he has like the most passing yards and touchdowns that a rookie has ever had. Either that or he's on pace. The guy's putting up records, and they have the most exciting young offense. I would say they have the most exciting young offense in the NFL. When you look at T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, I mean, they have players over there, man. And Joe Burrow is for real, man. So,
how about this? Could Jamar Chase have the season he has, where he's having it, and you be a Lions fan and still be happy about getting Penei Sewell? I think you can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we passed on the guy that's having a great year.
And apparently
we also got a guy that's been playing very well. And I agree with my man who says, I've been trying to tell y'all, Ernie, this defense is fool's gold. I've been saying it for a long time. 252-228-5098.
Hey, guys, it's Joey again. Hey, remember when we had that scandal where these cheerleaders went down to Tampa and did something? I forgot exactly.
Oh yeah,
what they
she
did,
punched that girl in the face.
Scandal.
She broke that girl's
when
nose.
The Top Cats kind of made national news. Like they went down to Tampa and they did some shit. Hey, why don't we get some Top Cats to go down to Tampa, and I'll go with them. Yes, I sound like Donald Trump now.
Yeah, of course you
I'll
will,
go with
Joey.
them.
Somebody please give Joey a...
Why don't we get them to lead a big fire Rhule chat? And then, when Rhule does something particularly egregious, they all
kiss Joey the Blind Panther.
Jump in the air on top of each other. Well, they do that, and then they land on the field, and then they all drop kick Matt Rhule. Anyway, guys. Wow.
The call got better as it went on. And I will tell you this, is that this was a long time ago. And he is right that this Top Cat story, I feel like this was in the early 2000s, though.
I don't even know what was being.
So one of these one of the Top Cats goes the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders are down there and they're in Tampa and they're partying at this bar. I don't know if it was the night before or the night after the game, one of the two. And this one chick gets mad because she's trying to get with this other chick, and and this other chick is getting with her chick. So it's one of the Panthers cheerleaders, and she's upset about another girl getting on her. You know what?
Wait. So a girl was hitting on her?
Yeah, it's at a bar. It's like the night after a game or before a game. I can't remember if it's the night after a game or but it was like a jealous Top Cat of another girl, and she broke this bitch's nose. Like she but they were all jacked up on coke. They were doing coke. I think that was part of it too. They were doing coke.
That sounds like the start of a video on Pornhub.
It was awesome. No, it was like this. It was like I gave him Jerry Richardson gave him a non-disclosure agreement afterwards, and that was it. NDA. No, I'm just kidding. But no, is that that's what it was about? And it was so awesome. It was dope. And you know what? I'll give his call got better because I bet you that Top Cat had more fight in her than John Miller did. She was pissed,
way
man.
more.
She
It's not even a question. More than Pat Elflein, Michael Jordan, and John Miller.
Chat, Google it. Google it. Just Google Panthers cheerleader breaks girl's nose. And y'all tell me the details. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was something to that effect.
Was it before the age of internet videos of people recording on their phone?
Oh, this is when we had to read it in the newspaper.
Oh man, that would have been a fantastic internet video.
Oh no, you know what? It would have made a great YouTube discussion.
Oh yeah, it would have been fire.
But this is
we would be breaking down our techniques on the show.
Everything back in the day, man. We could do anything. I skipped 52 days of Latin 2 my senior year in high school. You know what I'm saying? You can't it was like a monument. Like my teacher, it was like people, like the police officer would just wave to me as I just drove by. You know what I'm saying? There was a different era. I'm trying to tell y'all cats who have grown up with the internet, it's awesome. I feel like I have grown up in a time, and I'm not old. Imagine how our parents feel or something. But we have really grown up in a time that is transformational with the internet. It is a different world. 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, it's Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. In the Carolina Panthers 28 year history. We have a 2 or 3 different deficit losses to the Saints overall. It's very close. Atlanta's beaten us more than anybody else. But Tampa's the one team in our division. We've beaten them more than they've beaten us. But we're going to make history on Sunday. Tampa has never beaten us more than 3 times in a row, ever. And right now, because of Tom Brady, they have beaten us the last 3 times. So Sunday is going to be the first time ever Tampa is going to beat us 4 in a row. And if you go back and look at the history, we've beaten before 4 or 5, I think, times in a row. We've beaten several times in different spots in our history. The sad thing is, guys, this team, it wasn't that long ago we were almost 500 as a franchise. Off our 15-1 Super Bowl gear, we only needed to go 9-7 or 10-6, and we couldn't. We finished 6-10. Tepper, I'm willing to give him a break because he's trying to spend money. He's trying to do things. And people are going to knock him because he made the hires. Yeah, he made the hires and it falls on his head. Well, folks, he's not a football coach. He's not a GM. He's trying to hire people for the job. And Matt Rhule put his shitty soap in a box, and we bought the product. And it doesn't look very appealing. I just don't think we need to go for these college coaches. We've got to find someone who's had some proven NFL coaching experience and not a bad retread. We need an up-and-coming, no-name. Hey, what about the Dan Quinn guy that coached Atlanta? As bad as he sucked, it seems like he's got Dallas' defense rolling. He always had our number. We need a coordinator who can really go out there and do something. Who's been a coach before, or at least been a coordinator around the league for a long time.
All right, I misremembered the story, but it may be better than I remembered. 2 Panthers cheerleaders dismissed November 6th, 2005 two Carolina Panthers cheerleaders who witnesses told police were having sex with each other in a bathroom at a stall in Tampa Bay. In a Tampa Bay nightclub were arrested and charged early Sunday following a run-in with patrons and police. The cheerleaders were, let me see. The cheerleaders were violent, kicked off. The police report witnesses Witnesses claimed Thomas and Keithley were having sex with each other in a stall when other patrons grew angry that the two were taking so long in the bathroom. Another woman waiting to use the bathroom got into an argument with the two, and Thomas hit that person in the face. So she broke I remember this. So the broken nose was right. The cocaine was wrong. The lesbian, I don't know what to say.
That's not a bad word. You can say
Noah, go to bed.
Lesbian lovers.
Noah,
That's not
go
a
to
bad
sleep,
word.
Noah.
You can say lesbians. We've already cussed too much. We've corrupted Noah. He's listened to this podcast too long. Noah, please don't repeat any of the words that we say to anyone in your family.
I was just trying to get the facts right. I'm just trying to get the facts right. I just Googled that. And again, another example of how Google and the internet.
But there did appear to
in
be some
2005 that went under the radar. Yeah. In 2022, that was on that website that we cannot tell no next call.
Hey, Kevin from Charleston. I've been hearing these cat calls, and they're all depressing. I'm like, why are you all depressed? Do you know what's happening this Sunday? Do you know what we got to play for this Sunday? You got to play for the culture. You got to win this game for the culture. That's what Matt Rhule's trying to do for us. We got to win this game.
That's right.
We're going to get out of the top 10 of draft picks.
Tell them, Kevin.
And we're going to do this for the culture for next year.
South Carolina
so we can,
fan if I've ever heard one.
build on that. And then this game.
I hope you get a bucket of mayonnaise dumped on your face. Next call.
Yeah, this is trying to be positive.
Again, Noah.
What's up, Noah?
How do the New York Giants, not New York Giants, New York team, New York Jets, how do they rank higher than us? That's what I don't get. How do they rank higher than us? And there's some more things to say too.
I feel so bad.
Honestly, I think that this team can be a great team if we make some changes. I agree with you, Cody. Like you said earlier, it's not good players in the draft, but our GM just don't know how to draft them. And I agree with you. And honestly, I don't know what to expect from this team going on from now. This team is so unpredictable. Like, we make one move, and then honestly, I don't know. It seems like Matt Rhule is like he gets like to say and stuff like. I don't know if a lot of people voted on getting Sam Darnold into the team. I don't know if it's just Matt Rhule or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on in there. But do they ever talk to each other? Like, the general manager and Matt Rhule and them. Like, I don't know. It just seems just weird. It's like the video that y'all saw earlier with Cam. Like how he talked bad on Cam. It's like he's never really wanted Cam to be back on the team. Like, it just seems weird. And I think Matt Rhule probably about to, how many games he got left in the season? 2, maybe 3, I'm not sure. I think he may be gone. If David Tepper keeps him, he gotta be an idiot. He gotta go. I think he may go back to college, or I don't know. But he gotta go. This is unacceptable. Keep pounding C3 and we will find the light at the tunnel. I don't know, somewhere.
So good, man. You lift this podcast up,
There's probably no light under the tunnel. It's too far away for us to see it. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Noah.
Noah, you lift this podcast up. You bring us. We like. Sometimes people, and just remember this in life: surround yourself with people that lift you up, right? That bring you to be a better person. Do not surround yourself with people like us who bring you down to the degradation of the Carolina Panthers fans. No, I'm just kidding. My man he lifts me up. He lifts me up. And I do think that people have said this in the last couple of weeks is like these standalone calls. We should make a Noah to Tepper TikTok channel.
Just like make a channel where we put Noah's greatest hits.
Should do it. You should do it, Noah. Like, I mean, we'll give you I'll go find the calls. I'll give them back. You know what I mean? You send them. I think you need to make a TikTok channel. I'm not on TikTok, but I know that's where everybody is at. My kids are on. Everybody is on it. And that, in fact, I just saw that TikTok had more hits than Google. How about that? Is that more users than Google? That's insane.
Yeah,
I don't even know how that even works.
Just like YouTube and Instagram, a lot of people are making money on TikTok.
But I'm saying this is that Google, that there are more people who use TikTok than use Google. I saw an article the other day that said that. That's insanity. Like throughout the world.
Surprise me, man. So, I would dude, we need to get
Noah. I think here is your channel, bro. Your TikTok. What do they call them, CK? Are they channels or what do they call them on TikTok?
I mean, yeah, channels, page. I mean, yeah, anything really.
All right. It should be like Dear Tepper. That's what it should be. And it should be Noah dropping these joints. Dear Tepper. Dear David Tepper. Oh, imagine that.
You unplug yourself.
Nope, can't hear you.
Nope. Look what you did. Now who's the muted one? Nope, still can't hear you.
Oh, man.
Let me finish what Tony was saying. Noah needs to make his own TikTok. We will happily display these TikTok videos on the C3 podcast. Noah needs to be sending messages to David Tepper, telling him what you've been telling us, man. Dude, I'm telling you, man, the power of the younger generation will change the Panthers' future. That's what we're believing in, dude. And yeah, shout out to Noah, man. And I think whenever Noah calls in, it's important for us to remember that there's a bunch of little Noahs out there. There's a bunch of Panthers kids out there who are no longer getting any kind of enjoyment from this Panthers football team, man. And it's sad. We want them to have something to hold on to. But sadly, there's just nothing. Nothing but dead air. Nope. And not even any sound from Tony Dunn. You might need to come in. Yeah, go ahead, CK.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that that Noah kind of represents is the future of the Carolina Panthers fan base, and what Cam Newton brought was a lot of new young fans to this team, and unfortunately, with the loss of Cam Newton, the quarterbacks that were the main quarterbacks over the past 3 years, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Darnold, we have found ourselves in a situation where you see this younger generation start to kind of tune out. And that's the last thing you want to do. For me, it was, I remember it was similar. Like I kind of tuned out after the 2003 season. I was 13 years old. And we just were kind of all right. We were all right. And then when it just kept on getting worse, I just, I had other things to worry about. I wasn't super intrigued by it. And then, we talk about Cam Newton coming back and rejuvenating the franchise. That kind of brings your energy levels back up. I think we're all experiencing, as we talked about, that apathy, since the last few weeks, even if not longer. And I think right now, when you hear Noah calling in and expressing his distaste for what we have going on with the team. It's just like Tony says, like everybody says, it's a pulse on the on what our there he is. It's a pulse on where our Panthers fandom in our future can be, because I can tell you this much: if there's one thing that will get these Panthers to move is when you lose the younger generation, and then you're going to have them go quickly over to a new team if you don't have that location moved.
I think that was the last call.
I see threes, me.
Yep, I think that. Oh no, people still calling. How about that? They love y'all. They love Noah. I bet they're gonna call in.
Let's get him in.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. My name's Joseph Cagle.
What's up?
What's up,
There's
Joseph?
a few things that kind of bug me about this whole situation. I want to talk about why I think Joe Brady got fired and things that we should consider that a lot of people's not talking about. And I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll chat later, hopefully. Bye.
All right. Actually, fantastic point, Joseph. With something that we saw as a little bit as the Joe Person story came out, and a lot of shade got thrown on the coaching on Matt Rhule, and it added credibility to our discussions and questions about this coaching staff. Mike Florio and Pro Football Talk came out with a story that said, and it wasn't a story, but they were talking. It was a story. I love this. They were talking about Joe Person's story. So they wrote an article about Joe Person's article, but one of the lines that they had was Matt Rhule hearing some kind of or feeling the pressure of potentially being fired mid-season and worried that Joe Brady would be the interim coach appointed. And to be honest here is I don't know if there's like credibility to the story, but we do know that you couldn't fire Matt Rhule and promote Phil Snow. Like Phil Snow is going to do the it's Matt Rhule and Phil Snow for life. So it'd be Chase Blackburn. I don't even know if you can do Jeff Nixon. I mean, and that is where the logic sort of comes in here. Joe Brady's firing. What are your thoughts? Is there about this in that report?
So look, I know me and CK disagree on Joe Brady, but to me, this is further confirmation. If Matt Rhule were to have been fired in the middle of the season, the guy who interviewed for head coaching jobs last season would have been the guy to be the interim head coach.
Who else would have been, right? Tell me one other name. Chase Blackburn.
And again, now that from the article, we know that Matt Rhule has final say on all football decisions. We don't know this. And again, this is speculation saying that it might have happened. But what if Joe Brady was sitting there telling Matt Rhule, hey, we need to get Christiansen involved in the lineup. We need to get Deontay Brown involved in the lineup. What if he was pounding the table for some of the changes that needed to be made? And then because he was the loudest dissenter, he was the one to get the axe. And it also made sure that he wouldn't be the head coach if Matt Rhule was fired. I maintain, I know we were all really upset with Joe Brady, but just like I said about all the quarterbacks, they are set up to fail with this offensive line the way it is. He was never going to show you what kind of play caller he was when none of the quarterbacks were getting more than a second and a half to throw the football. So I believe it. I mean, especially stuff like that, it makes me double down and believe that stuff even more.
CK, thoughts? You didn't like?
I didn't. I still maintain my position with Joe Brady. I mean, I can argue the exact opposite with, how do we know that Joe Brady wasn't the reason that Teddy Bridgewater was here? How do we know he wasn't the reason that they decided to go after Sam Darnold? How do we know he wasn't the reason that our offensive linemen weren't getting the reps at the positions that they were, needing to be? I mean, there's so many arguments to be had that we don't know, any of the specifics about that. I think that if I'm being quite honest, I think Matt Rhule's firing of Joe Brady was, granted we all wanted it. I think it had more to do with the fact that something needed to be different. David Tepper is looking at what the fan base is saying and saying, listen, we need to make a change. And that's something that was a conversation. And as much as they want to try to deny that, that's a conversation that they're having. So, I mean, I'm at that point where I'm, like I said, I think the Matt Rhule, it was a mistake for him to let go of Joe Brady, if I'm being quite honest with you, because as I mentioned earlier, it puts everything on his back. And now there is no security blanket.
So if Matt Rhule did fire Joe Brady because he was fearful that he was the only competent person that could take his job or would take his job, that would verify so much of Panthers Twitter talking shit about Matt Rhule. Oh my gosh, if that's what he did, like if he was that or I don't know what the right word would be for it, like scared, that beta to it. Look, as Joe Brady didn't do, Joe Brady deserved a ton of criticism, but it turns out that Joe Brady and the entire staff deserve criticism.
Yeah.
It's not just Joe Brady, right? And so I don't want to absolve Joe Brady, but I do think this is that, again, I think the best analogy I saw was there's a lifeboat and there's too many people in it, and we got to throw somebody out. And they threw Joe Brady out. But it turns out, and I'm worried about this, not worried about this, is that actually I would say the irony about this is that people like Mel Mayock, right? People who argue that we should give Matt Rhule another year, right? That we're overreacting. I think that's what they're really saying, is that when you say you're calling for, it's like, no, trust the process, you're overreacting. You're calling to fire someone prematurely, which will set you back. That is their argument, right? Like if you fire Matt Rhule today, then you got to bring in a new staff, and then we're back to ground zero. It's going to set you back. Well, then why did Matt Rhule fire his own staff? He set us back. Yeah. He set himself back. So is that you tell us that we're panicking. You tell us that we are with our pitchforks at the gates calling for a sacrifice. Then why did Matt Rhule sacrifice Joe Brady then? And that's what I have continued to say, is that if these guys really had it together, if Joe Brady and them are all straight, if Joe Brady was the next savant, if Rhule had his shit together, then they wouldn't be. They would have just said this: shit fucked up this year. We got 5 wins. We about to get it next year.
So,
but no, he sacrificed. He did that. He panicked. He threw somebody. He gave a sacrifice.
So, Joey Shervano, I guess he's the tennis coach at Baylor. He put out this tweet.
This is great.
And so he put out, Matt Rhule is the real deal. The NFL is about coaching and finding a franchise quarterback. He's got the first part in droves and now has to solve the quarterback position. Not easy to do. I wouldn't bet against him.
Who
now,
the fuck is
if
that?
you're on Twitter,
he is the tennis coach for Baylor.
Yeah, now, if you're on Twitter, everybody quote tweeted.
Oh, it's awesome.
Ribbing this guy, except
look
for
at 130 quote tweets.
Except for this guy, Mel. He agrees with it 100%.
Who is it? It's not Mel Mayock, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. Like my thing, like I know that's why I thought you would like. I had to show you that.
Oh my god!
But like,
did you see what was your favorite one? There was this one. Oh my god! This dude said this. So I put up this. You know what was your response to this tweet?
I didn't even say anything, dude. It was just so dumb. It's like There's, he says he has the first part in droves. The NFL is about coaching and finding a franchise quarterback. He says he has the first part in droves. Well, what about his coaching? Does he have in droves? Like, he hasn't coached up this team to do shit this season. So,
and why did he fire his own people? If he is so confident in what he's doing and this and that, why are you guys are talking shit to us about wanting to fire Matt Rhule, but he fired someone because he was scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't this was let me see if I can share this. This was my response to this tweet. I did the quote share because they don't come up as easy. I know. They're supposed to be sarcastic.
Okay, let's see.
It says this tweet is love serving 40. Which in tennis means like that person's about to beat my ass. Like 0 versus 40. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 0. Love means 0. And then the other thing is this, somebody had the best tweet about this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. And this guy said, this is like comparing all right. Anyway, I'll find it. I think. Oh, we got one more call. Let me find this tweet.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's KPM here. Hey,
KPM,
before I
what's
get
up?
into it, I just want to give a shout out to Noah. I really do think the kid needs some recognition for his fanship for the team. Not many kids you see have the knowledge of the NFL like they do,
Or
like
people.
this kid does. Like honestly, when I'm willing to bet if I was about his age, I've probably still been eating animal crackers, but I have to give the kid some recognition for that. And the fact that, he shows so much loyalty to the team. I also wanted to give a thank you to you guys for having the show tonight and entertaining us with some comedic points. Had a few chuckles tonight, and I know that's what we need right now, especially with the hardships that we're going through with the team. Also just wanted to say, hang in there, Panther Nation. We got another week to go for off season. So keep pounding, and hopefully I'll be on the show next time. I don't know.
Well,
Keep
come
pounding,
on, man.
brother. Appreciate
And
you, man.
We got the Friday free for all when you're always welcome. And
Yeah.
I was trying to find this guy's tweet.
Yeah, so to
keep going.
everyone in here who would like to be a part of the show, every Friday at 7 p.m., we do the C3 Friday free-for-all, where I post the link to the StreamYard, and anyone who wants to come and join the show and be a part of the show can do that. You can come and talk Carolina Panthers. We have a fantastic time, man. We have a crew that continues to come and hang out every Friday. And it's been a great time, man, every Friday at 7 p.m. We didn't do one last Friday. I had the family over, but they will be here this Friday.
It was
before
New
our
Year's
final game of the
Eve,
season.
man. I mean, come on. Give yourself a break.
Yeah, that's right, man.
It was New Year's Eve. Ultimately, that guy said this is I've been trying to find the tweet, and it was something to the effect of, this is similar to saying, if I got a blind girl, which I felt was funny because we got Joey, the blind Panther, and that was in a wheelchair, which I also found funny because Cody Lash, you know what I'm saying? And then I tried to
saw
say,
that.
and then it was like, if I tried to say that, what was it? He's got coaching in droves, but if he had something else.
I might have liked it. Hold on.
It was wonderful. It was the best. It was the best. Anyway, fun stuff. We've talked about the Carolina Panthers now for 3 hours.
Somehow.
And somehow there have been so many people that have been a part of it. Imagine this, is that I get to the point now when I look at the views, I'm like, oh man, we only got 1,000 views. I'm like, it is crazy, bro, that 142 people hung out with us all night. It's the craziest thing ever.
Yep.
And crazy awesome. Don't stop. Actually, do whatever you want. But I hope you stay. Hope you stay, folks. Man, we've had so much fun. The Panthers suck. We have a lot to. I saw somebody chanting in the chat room. Talk about the draft. Talk about the draft. Don't worry. We have 4 months to talk about the draft. Don't worry. It's coming. It is. We are edging it. I guess next week in the show, we will have to talk about other teams going to the playoffs. We'll have to talk about. Luckily, we won't have to talk about what, CK?
The Panthers.
Thank God.
At least the Panthers being a bad team.
Thank God. No, but we'll still be fans. Noah, don't worry. Don't repaint your walls. Don't burn your sheets. We'll still be here, man. Being angry is part of it. Being upset is part of it. Being happy is part of it. They say it's bittersweet, and there's a reason they say bittersweet, because one day it will be sweet. This week, maybe not. The Panthers will. Are we on the road? Or do we host? On the road.
Tampa Bay.
Yep.
All right. There's no reason to talk about the game. Tomorrow night, we're going to hang out with...
we really like there's no reason to talk about it. I mean, is there any chance that we pull it out because they're playing backups?
Yeah, are they actually playing backups? Do we know that? Because
we don't know that. But they're not going to get a bye. They might get an extra home game, CK.
Yeah, we knew that we're going to get the bye. Yep.
It means something to them, but not a ton. Like I said, they have to win their first game, and then they might get an extra home game. But anyway, tomorrow night we'll hang out with Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard. So we'll figure out. We'll ask him about AB. You know he's going to be so mad when we lead the show off with that. He's going to be so pissed. He's going to be like, you mean we're Super Bowl champions last year? We're on our way to the playoffs, and the first thing you want to ask me about is AB peace signing on the way? Yes. Duh. It's the internet, homie. What else are we going to ask you about? So we got the beat check tomorrow with Buck What You Heard, Gene Thomas. And the last part of the show is the Ice Up picks. I hope you guys got one.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I need a second, so give me one. Give me a second.
All right, let me make sure I got mine all the way pulled up here. So, CK, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? It's up to you.
Either way is fine.
All right, so here I'll let you go first because I'll pull up another one that's related to mine.
All right, mine's gonna be a kind of a rolling. I'll tell you a couple of things. I'll tell you the story behind why I'm saying this here in a minute. But if you are someone who every year brings a new person to your family's holiday celebrations and expects them to be in our family photos every year, like you're wrong, right? You're wrong for that. So that's been the case for somebody in my family. They always have a new person that they bring and a lot of times
this is your best ice up so far ever.
So so basically this person in my family will bring a different person to Thanksgiving and a different person just literally a month later to Christmas. And it's gotten to a point where it's like habitual. And so if you're somebody
I can't wait to be in your Easter picture.
So if it's so to kind of give you some background, this person has been in a dark spot in their life, over the past few years, and their entire existence is based on who they're with, as opposed to themselves being able to have be by themselves. And so they find a way to never be alone. And this time, and the reason
he or her,
this is a her, and the people that she brings are hers as well.
Picture, then I'm totally in your Easter
No,
bunny.
no. The people that she brings are also hers.
Every time?
Yeah.
Not even a
no. And
Nah.
and
Well,
so
happy Easter.
yeah, because of that, they end up, so she ends up getting like super depressed and all this stuff. So we literally found out, and I'll just tell you guys, it's my sister. And I found out by a Facebook post that she got married over the weekend to one of these people.
Oh, whoa.
And so I was gonna ice that up, but I know there are plenty of people out there probably that exist that got married on a whim with nobody from their family at the reception, and it turned out perfectly fine for their relationship. So I'm not gonna ice that up, but I am icing up the fact that when you're somebody who has that type of personality, where you bring a new person to all, you can bring a new person. Don't get me wrong.
Comment, man. The chat room is always the best.
So just like, if you're gonna bring them, don't pull them into every family photo. That's my biggest thing. Is like, what I'm sitting there like having to take the photo of the family photo, and I'm like, all right, everybody get in, and Shannon's like, come on over here, and I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I'm gonna have to edit this person out because we're gonna have to have this nice family photo, and it just, anyway, it's a problem. Anyway, I suck the people who do that.
I suck T Driggs night too, but my favorite night is you should just hang those pictures all over the house for the next holiday when she comes in. There's be 27 pictures of you for oh my gosh, what a great comment. All right, last name Cody. Last name, what you got?
So my ice up.
Man, my cheeks hurt from that comment,
dude. So
gosh,
Jalen Hurts walking off of the football field, and the fans damn near collapse right on top of him, right? What's funny is how fast they go into picture mode. Like, oh yeah, they almost just go in your face. But, hey, no problem. Hey, let me get some pictures with you. Hey, that's cool. But that's not even the funniest part. Jalen Hurts actually wrote the stadium with the grievance about it. But this is how the stadium decided to fix it. They put zip ties over the railing to prevent anyone from ever falling through again, dude. You literally can't make this shit up. This is why people want Dan Snyder out as the owner of the Washington football team. I think it's hilarious. You just can't make that shit up. And fuck it, just put some zip ties. Dude, I love it.
By far the worst stadium in the entire NFL, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So
I haven't been there, but I've
this
heard
was, yeah, ice up, son.
All right. I guess my ice up pick part is to going back to work. Right? It's like I've been on vacation. Like, so I teach. Will not tell you why, because y'all bitches will try to get me fired. And you can probably Google it and find it. So fire me. Who cares? I don't care. No, I mean, it sucks going back to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like 2 weeks or 13 days. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't been to work for a minute. It stinks going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So you wake up, you get all your stuff together. You do everything right. Go to work. Well, we have this thing at work where like we all have to pitch in for this advising center. And because of COVID, you can only have 5 people in there at a time that are working. Right? But there is like 40 or 50 people that have to work over these 2 days. It's walk-in registration. So you have to work I had to work this small time in this general center today helping these people. No problem. I love helping people. Man, I will help you get your classes. I'll do any of that. The problem is this. there's a sign up sheet like where we sign up and we have to pick our hour that we're going to work on top of our regular work day. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to work our work day, but it's like, this is going to be our time that we're going to be doing this. We have to go this place and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are more people than there are slots. Right? So you ultimately is that there's three types of people. There are the people that are the super planners like my wife who will sign up on the first moment. Like they get that email and they're the first people to sign up. That's my wife. That's not me. Right? Those people signed up before we left for our break because they sent the email, like the sign up sheet, like the day before we leave. So it's the last day. You're putting in grades. You're like, man, I ain't trying to worry about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but some people are like this. So they get these good hours, like the best, the ones they want. And then there's this second group of people who are competent at their job and have, you know, like we're going to do whatever we got to do. Like, well, yeah, we'll do it. Like, I'm going to do my hour. Like, I'll find it. And then we get the crap hours. And then there's this third group of people, which I really am secretly. I'm this secret group, but I just don't want to lose my job. I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, like I care about my mortgage too much to be this openly. Who wait for all of us to sign up, and then there are no more slots, and they don't have to do it. It sucks.
That's working harder, or that's working smarter, not harder.
It's not working smarter.
Yeah,
it's working. It's like this. It's like, oh man, I'm like, God, I gotta do this, and they're just laughing. They don't work beside the dean. They work in a different building, out of sight, out of mind. Anyway, screw y'all jokers who are ballsy enough to do what we all want to do. I said,
or commend them.
No, I'm not commending nobody. I'm putting no. It's like I wrote my boss. I said this. I ain't complaining about this. I'm a team player. But damn, why do I gotta be the motherfucker that got? Anyway, I didn't have a better ice up about anything other than I went back to work today. That one sucked. Ice up that.
There you go.
It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. If you listen to this podcast for 3 hours and realize you can Google my name and maybe get me fired, that is kind of awesome. I would say this. You have listened more than my own students have. So God bless you. Actually, don't God bless you. Please don't try to do that. That's mean. That would be mean. Anyway, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. We've been here for 9 freaking years. 9 freaking years. It's been a tough season, but we coming back. We coming back strong with Matt Fool. I hope not. But anyway, this Panthers podcast will rule. 252-228-5098. Call in for the show. We have the beat check tomorrow night. We've got Gene Thomas hanging out from Buck What You Heard. We had a great post game this past week. Tony was livid. I was passionate. I'm usually not. I was angry. Somebody in the chat said they like the angry professor. Anyway, so we've been doing our thing. We're trying to keep it up. Cody Lashney, my wheel man, my right-hand man, my co-host, my dude, thank you so much for what you've given throughout this season to this podcast. Tell them what you got.
Dude, you know I'd love to do it. Love to be a part of the C3 community. Listen, man, I want everyone to check us out. You know we'll be here tomorrow. But on Friday at 7 p.m., as I mentioned before, the Friday free for all. You can come and join the show, be a part of the show. I'll post the link to the StreamYard, and we have a fantastic discussion every Friday. We have a really nice round table going. And find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC.
CK?
Yeah, you can find me on all social media platforms. I haven't been streaming as much, but if you guys are ever interested in watching some games, go tune into Facebook Gaming, Codizzle Allen over there. I got this VR hooked up, so I'm probably going to start streaming some VR content if you guys are interested.
Stream VR?
Yeah, dude.
How'd you figure that out?
Well, you can cast it. There's a couple of ways. You can cast it to your PC, or you can actually use it and connect it to your PC to where you're playing the games directly on your PC. And you can easily just set it up as a screen capture at that point. It's pretty easy. Either way, I mean, there's multiple ways of doing it, but yeah, it's not too difficult.
I want to thank everybody in the chat room, man. Y'all are amazing. You have helped me through this season. We'll be back here tomorrow night for the beat check. We will drop Debate My Take on Thursday. Friday, the Friday free for all, and on Sunday, hopefully the Panthers beat down. Later, take us out of here, Cody.
Until next time, Panther Nation, keep pounding.